Giant, and Danny Peebles, the ex-Buccaneer. Peebles number 80, Morris number 20 there. And it bounces to Peebles at the 7. To the 32-yard line where Otis Smith made the stop. So the Browns with good field position to start this football game under sunny skies. Temperatures in the low 40s, and Bernie Kosar, if he throws 2 passes without them being intercepted, will eclipse this mark of 294 set by Bart Starr of the Packers back over 1964 and 65. This was Kosar's last interception. Deion Sanders of the Falcons last December. And he'll throw on first down. Mack, good coverage by the Eagles. A loss of about a yard on the play. And downfield, a flag deep in the secondary. And up come the hands from Izell Jenkins and Reggie Langhorne. So the referee getting some early action. Howard Rowe, number 33, our referee today. Way off the play and a route run downfield. Izell Jenkins and Langhorne getting at each other. And meanwhile, the Eagles had stopped the play back at the 30. Personal foul against Philadelphia. So a good defensive play. Wiped out by a silly piece of fisticuffs.
Number 46 defense. Grabbing the face mask with a twist. 15-yard penalty. First down.
I'm not surprised to see that penalty, Tim, because the Eagles all week long, even though Bud Carson hadn't said anything to him about coming in here to beat Cleveland, have been under a very intense training regimentation during the week. Practice sessions were longer. They spent more time in reading rooms. They wanted to get ready for this game. They're playing this game like it's a championship ball game. They won it badly.
The Browns have a first down at the 45-yard line with the penalty, having lost a yard on the play. And Kosar can now eclipse the Star record with his next pass that is not intercepted. But they go to Mack on the ground. Kevin Mack for a pickup of about 4. Mike Golick made the stop. For the Browns, offensively, rookie Tony Jones, John Reenstra over from Pittsburgh in Plan B, Mike Babb, rookie as King, and Dan Fike. Not rookie Tony Jones, pardon me. The rookie is King. Horde, Mack, Slaughter, Brennan, and Langhorne, 3 wide receivers, the way they play most of the game, although they do have the tight end Scott Galbraith in now, number 81. Leroy Horde, second-year man from Michigan, is the lone setback with 3 wide receivers. Intended for Langhorne, incomplete. And so that is the record now for Bernie Kosar, the first one being wiped out, the completion. And they took the penalty. He has now tied the Bart Starr record. Jim McMahon had a great idea as to how Kosar could accomplish this easily. He said he could throw the first 2 passes of the day into the ground. McMahon's contribution to how to achieve it. And the crowd applauding the accomplishment of Bernie Kosar. And Kosar trying to quiet him down. He really downplayed this whole record. He says, nice to have it. But he said, you need to make plays, score points. That's what a quarterback's supposed to do. Third down. And that is tipped away, but there'll be an interference call intended for Brennan, and Eric Allen had the coverage and apparently gave Brennan a little push before he got his hand on the ball.
Well, I tell you, it looked like Allen was in pretty good position, though, Tim. Again, a defensive back making a break on the ball outside like that. If he has good inside position, he has a pretty good chance of coming up with it. And Allen did have good inside position on Brennan, but apparently there was some contact when he went up in the air for the ball.
Well, they needed 7 for the first down.
Pass interference, number 21 defense. Spot foul, automatic first down.
Well, Kosar has set the record ahead of Bart Starr by 1. Consecutive passes without an interception, 295. First down at the 46. 50-yard line and flags everywhere before the ball came up.
You know, Tim, was one other person in the stadium who had an interest in that record. Zeke Bratkowski, the assistant coach for the Philadelphia Eagles, is the quarterback coach here now, was a backup quarterback with the Green Bay Packers when Starr set that record. And he told me during the pregame warm-up that record had to go eventually. There he is right now. I said, would you feel any remorse when you see?
Encroachment, number 99, 5-yard penalty, repeat first down.
Would you feel any remorse when you see a good friend of yours' record go down? He said, no, not really. It was bound to happen sooner or later. He said, of course, Kosar's the kind of guy you expect to get it.
Bratkowski, he wasn't too shabby a quarterback. Had some big years. Well, Jerome Brown picked up that penalty. He's at tackle with Mike Pitts, Reggie White, and Clyde Simmons on the ends. Joyner, Evans, and William Thomas, the rookie, and the linebackers. Smith and Allen on the corners, Hopkins and Waters, the safeties. 3 penalties against the Eagles on this opening series. Another flag down. Kevin Mack on 1st and 5 gets maybe 3. Encroachment again against the fired up Eagles. They're just a little too tight the way they're starting this game here on defense.
They are a little too tight, Tim, but
defense,
the Cleveland Browns
lined up offsides in a neutral zone, number 99, 5-yard penalty.
We'll take a look at the Cleveland Browns offensive line. The center holds the ball way out in front of him, and the rest of the linemen line up on their shoulders. This means their offensive line is 1 yard off the ball. And oftentimes, a defensive line, when they try to sneak up to get close to the opposing offensive lineman, will line up off sides. Take a look and see down the line here. The center's over the ball, but watch where the rest of the offensive linemen are for the Cleveland Browns. They're way off the football, and they could very well draw that defense off sides.
Well, they got Jerome Brown twice, but 4 penalties on a series. Kevin Mack for about 3 yards. It'll leave 2nd and 7. And the Eagles have simply been helping the Browns down the field. Thomas and Evans on the tackle. Kevin Mack with 3 touchdowns in the loss, pardon me, to the Bengals last week. That heartbreaker for the Browns. 2 missed field goals, one of them hitting the upright, the other blocked, giving them a chance to win that game.
Tim, he was really very impressive in that game, though. He has tremendous power. Everybody knows that, but I always measure power backs by what happens when contact is made. When you hit Kevin Mack, if you don't hit him right, nothing happens. He runs right through you. He's a great power football player. 2nd
and 8. He's the lone setback from the 33 of Philadelphia. Kosar, and that's incomplete. Tight coverage from linebacker Joyner. Browns and their fans want another interference call, but none forthcoming.
Number 86, Brennan in the slot, working upfield on a hook pattern. You see, works inside, sees his zone defense. Now he breaks inside, thinking he's going to be open. But here comes number 59, Seth Joyner, who Bud Carson says is perhaps one of the best outside linebackers in football. As a matter of fact, he said if Seth Joyner doesn't make the Pro Bowl this year, no one deserves to go. He's having an outstanding season.
4 wide receivers in now for the Browns. This is an alignment they showed last week against the Bengals. Jenkins and Miano come into the Philadelphia Eagles secondary. Good protection for Kosar, but it's blocked. Clyde Simmons got a hand on that pass from Kosar. Ball nearly came down in the hands of an ineligible receiver. Tony Jones, the left tackle.
That's the thing that Eagle defensive line will do to you, Tim. I was talking to Mike Pitts during the pregame warm-up, and he said that one thing we want to do is make Kosar move around, get our hands up, and see if we can get some block balls. Now, Kosar is 6'5", but watch this when Clyde Simmons, number 96, approaches him. He's up there with his hands up high and knocks that pass down.
Now, the Eagles ran a whole bunch of guys on here at the last second as Stover was preparing for what was apparently going to be a 50-yard field goal attempt.
Timeout.
And the Eagles are forced to take a timeout. So here at Cleveland Stadium, we are scoreless. This and is watching his team on Friday. This is a team still playing with a lot of enthusiasm, and the coaches say, as they like to say, they're playing hard. And they are not out of the playoff hunt, but they have a long uphill road ahead. A 50-yard field goal attempt for Matt Stover is long of the year from 45. series wind up with a 50-yard field goal by Matt Stover and take a 3-0 lead. 4 Eagles penalties contributing to the success of the Browns getting down into field goal range, and Stover, who, as we said, had a best of 45 so far this year, was a pretty happy guy after he nailed that.
There's something to be said about coming into a game with an even keel. I think the Eagles defense is really highly wired, Tim. As you indicated earlier, we were talking about how they would come into this game. They seem to be really emotionally charged, made a couple of penalties during that drive, which enabled Cleveland to keep their drive alive. And of course, Bud right now is trying to get them settled down.
37 yards, 7 plays, 3:05 off the clock for the Browns on their opening series. And Matt Stover picked up on Plan B from the New York Giants. Bill Belichick knew all about him, of course. He'll be kicking off to Rod Harris and Heath Sherman. And you're looking at Jim McMahon, who is going to come out here and try and throw it in this opening series for the Eagles. Sherman from the 5. Out to the 21-yard line, bouncing off a couple of Browns before Harlan Barnett stopped him. And Jim McMahon brings on the Eagles, and he showed up with yet a new injury to add to this list that goes back to 1984, where, as you can see, a body by McMahon is not the way to get yourself in shape, folks, because he has been a banged-up body most of his football career. When the Eagles have had him in the ball game, starting and finishing, they're 4-1 this year. Can he make it through this one? Keith Byers. Good defensive pursuit. Pio Songapulatelli, the rookie from San Diego State, and yet another rookie, Eric Turner from UCLA, making the stop. Heller, McKnight, Alexander, Ron Solt, and Antone Davis, the rookie at right tackle. Heath Sherman and Byers, the starting running backs. Barnett and Williams, the wide receivers. Keith Jackson, the tight end for Philadelphia. Byers was a questionable starter today. Took a helmet in the back in the Monday night victory over the Giants. Did not practice much all week, but another of the Eagles' tough guys. Loss of 2. Knocked down by Songapulatelli. A Samoan rookie from San Diego State. Their 4th pick this year.
Tim, that pass showed us something. McMahon normally would go back on a quick drop like that, 1-2, let it fly. But he really wanted to make sure he had Keith Jackson in his sights. Now watch his delivery here. He's very deliberate here. He doesn't want to put a whole lot of pressure on that arm because this is his first throw. And the ball gets he's going to come lofted out there. But the ball is batted down at the line of scrimmage.
3rd down, long 12. And good protection. Deep sideline, intercepted. Eric Turner. Touchdown. They're barking in the dog pound. Eric Turner, as Stover hits the point after a 10-0 Browns lead. Eric Turner got into a NFL game last week for the first time. Starts his first start with a touchdown.
It's really an impressive defense.
Eric Turner's 42-yard kickoff interception return. And the kickoff returned to the 25-yard line by Rod Harris of the Eagles, met by Brian Brennan. Now here's a look at that touchdown.
Well, Tim, Eric Turner's really been quite a force here with the Cleveland Browns as he saw some action last week against Cincinnati for the first time. He's been hampered with injuries here. He's a #1 pick, but he has a great explosion as a tackler, but good, you see good jumping ability here as well, too. Picks this one off and rambles 42 yards to the Browns to get them on the scoreboard, and all of a sudden this game has taken a different complexion with the Browns leading 10-0.
The Eagles from their 25-yard line. McMahon continues at quarterback. James Joseph nowhere to go. Stuffed for a loss of about a yard. And now for an NFL update, let's go to Greg Gumbel in New York.
All right, Tim, at the House of Pain in Houston, Greg Montgomery's punt blocked by Isaac Colt. Robert Williams, 18 yards, and with the extra point. In the battle for Texas, Dallas leads Houston 7-0 in the first, Tim.
Wow, some early interesting happenings. Big plays made early, and of course Eagles fans want to keep track of the Dallas Cowboys, 6-3 going into that game today against the tough Houston team leading the Central Division of the AFC at 7-2. This is Joseph again, and again excellent defensive pursuit. Stephen Bragg starting on the right corner, making the stop, number 36.
Bragg does a real good job forcing this sweep as he comes up as a support man and takes everything inside. But the key on this, though, Tim, really starts up front with their defensive line. Michael,
you want to be talking about Joseph. I mean, they made a good defensive play. George, you got time to let him do something. Third down at the 25-yard line. 10 yards to go. Joseph able to get the yard back they lost on the first play. Man, again, good protection, and he is complete to Barnett. Close to the first down, very near the marker. It'll depend on the spot.
Pass complete to Keith Jackson.
Tim, the PA announcer said it was Keith Jackson. We know it was Fred Barnett, number 86, is the receiver. But watch this delivery by McMahon this time. He steps up and puts some mustard on this pass. So apparently that elbow problem he had that he said he would take care of and be able to play today isn't that big a problem for him. He seems to be handling it. Maybe he just needed a few throws to get loosened up.
Most of the concern so far this season is focused around that knee that caused him to miss a few games. As you told us earlier when he came in to visit with us last night, it was an elbow problem that was concerning him. James Joseph, and he breaks a tackle and nearly breaks another, but a good ankle grab by Vince Newsom, or Joseph had a lot of running room. This Joseph is a hard hitter, as you pointed out about this guy. He runs hard.
He breaks a lot of tackles, Tim, and he said to us last night that you do that if you have a lot of want to. He's the kind of a guy that doesn't like to be touched. Most great running backs do not like to be touched. Now watch Joseph's reaction when he hits the wall here. There's contact. Break free. Do it any way you possibly can. But he tries to get lower than the tackler so he can knock them off of him. Here he breaks a tackle and almost squirted out of there.
Newsom with a dandy stop. Joseph, the rookie from Auburn, drafted in the 7th round by the Eagles. They give it to him again. Nowhere to go, cutting it back, and the Browns swarm him down for another loss of about 3. Well, the Eagles defense a little over anxious on their opening series, all wired up. The Browns are all fired up, and they're doing a great job in this series. Michael Dean Perry with the tackle.
Boy, was he ever impressive on that play as well, too. Michael Dean Perry is, of course, the #1 defensive lineman here for the Cleveland Browns. And he's one of these people who was very close to Bud Carson when Bud was here as a defensive coordinator. He said he's going to really enjoy sitting on the bench watching Bud and the Eagles play defense. But he's a guy who comes to play with a load every weekend, and he's the key man of that front four.
Roy Green into the lineup on 3rd down. Anthony Florence has come into the secondary. The pass intended for Barnett incomplete. So the Browns, with an impressive defensive series, have forced the Eagles to punt. Cleveland leading 10-0. Rich Kotite takes the headset off here. He is not a happy camper at this point.
Jim, I think Kotite's going to have to make a decision on personnel here, whether or not he wants to bring Jeff Kemp in. McMahon's throwing isn't as impressive as it should be. So far, he's thrown everything short because he can't put enough mustard on the ball to go any deeper.
Webster Slaughter is the punt returner for the Browns today. Fiegel's punt taken at the 18. Ball down at the 30-yard line by Otis Smith after he broke away from Kenny Jackson. The ball came loose, but after play was whistled dead. We'll be right back. Across at Cleveland Stadium, where the Browns have taken an early 10-0 lead. Let's take a look quickly around the rest of the league here and have a picture of what's happening elsewhere, with Washington on top of Atlanta 7-3 in the first quarter. San Francisco with Steve Bonowit quarterback over the Saints so far with a field goal. Dallas with that block punt for a touchdown, and Cincinnati on top of Pittsburgh 3-0. Tampa Bay leading Detroit 7-0 in the first quarter. First down, Browns from their own 30-yard line. Kevin Mack hits about 5, running straight ahead. Reggie White on the tackle.
Reggie White, Mike Nance.
Well, Eagles fans can hope that the Eagles defense has calmed down a little bit here, as they were rattled during that opening series. Green Bay on top of Buffalo early. The Jets over Indianapolis in the first quarter.
When will the Colts score a touchdown?
Good question, and they're without the big guy Dickerson today. He's suspended for 4 games by his coach. Second down and 6, we'll call it. A 4-yard gain for Kevin Mack. A little wing formation. Langhorne in motion. The blitz was on, and Kosar to Horde with Joyner flying into his face. Kosar went to his hot receiver out of the backfield, and Horde did the rest. Stover for the point after. Hit the upright. Well, the first miscue by the Browns so far today on the point after. So the Browns with a shocking 16-0 lead, 6:04 to go. Tim Ryan with Irv Cross, where the Browns have jumped into a 16-0 lead. We're still in the first period. Stover's kickoff. A line drive on the bounce. Harris from the 15, and he dives out near the 30-yard line. So the Eagles start with decent field position. Latin Berry made the tackle.
Tim, let's take a look at this play. Seth Joyner, the linebacker, is off here in the corner. He's the man who's going to come on the blitz. But what happens when that develops is that the running back, in this case Horde, yells hot, hot, hot as soon as he sees that linebacker release. And Bernie, of course, gives him a real quick delivery here, and there he goes. He's off to the races, 65 yards for the touchdown. That's simply between Kosar and the hot back, and they came up with a touchdown.
Ball spotted at the 29 on the kickoff return. McMahon 1 for 4 at this point for only 10 yards. And it is nearly intercepted again by Tony Blaylock. Intended for Calvin Williams. And the ball hanging up there. Now bear in mind, here at Cleveland Stadium, it is a gusty, windy venue, especially this time of the year. And that ball hung up.
Good point, Tim. Kosar told us yesterday that in this stadium, to throw a pass like that, particularly a sideline pass, you have to really gun it because the wind will oftentimes take it away. And that's exactly what happened that time. McMahon just cannot put enough mustard on the ball to drive it out in those deep out patterns.
We can show you some wind blowing around with those flags, and you'll see flags going in opposite directions. It really swirls. 2nd and 10. Again, good protection and a good catch. Maurice Johnson, the tight end, number 87, the first-year man out of Temple, picks up about an 8-yard gain. That'll leave 3rd and 2 Philadelphia. Here at Cleveland Stadium, temperatures dropping down to about the 40-degree mark, and the Cleveland Browns have a 16-0 lead, scoring on their first drive with a field goal, an interception by Eric Turner, and then Bernie Kosar to Leroy Horde, a 65-yard pass play for a 16-0 lead. 3rd and 2. Byers, a flag down, and play is whistled dead. So either a false start or encroachment. Referee Howard Rowe.
Penalty, repeat 3rd down.
So it's against the Eagles, their 5th penalty of this game. Keith Jackson, the man charged with it. And it'll make it 3rd and 7 instead of 3rd and 2.
This gives the Browns a distinct advantage, Tim, because now they can go into the nickel package. They call this a sub-defense with 4 linemen rushing and 6 defensive backs on the field. And McMahon, now with that bad arm, has to throw into the secondary.
Florence and Barnett come into the Browns secondary. Roy Green in motion. A big game against the Giants Monday night. McMahon will elude the rush, can't do it. Michael Dean Perry with the sack for the Browns.
Number 92, Tim. Michael Dean Perry is the man who really causes most of the pressure here, allowing 57 Clay Matthews also to get into the act here. But Michael Dean up front, you see just collapsing here. Here he comes, breaks everything down. McMahon can't step up, and Clay Matthews winds up with the tackle.
Eagles punt taken by Slaughter at the 36. Webster Slaughter to the 42-yard line, hit there by John Hudson. And excellent field position for the Browns. Webster Slaughter this week in the news with his receiving partner Reggie Langhorne. Both of those players, after a fundraiser early in the week, were accused but not charged, we emphasize, with an alleged rape of a young woman here in Cleveland. She has not been named. The players were named, but there have been no charges filed. So that created some turmoil early in the week. The players deny that any such incident took place, and they have not been charged.
As of yesterday, Tim, the players even haven't been interviewed by the police yet. As far as the investigation goes, they haven't been contacted at all. But the charges, as you said, are alleged charges and still pending.
Mack on 1st down. And he's dropped for a loss. Joyner came up along with Reggie White, ranging out from left end, and there'll be a loss of a yard on the play.
Not the kind of a play like to see Kevin Mack run. He's basically an off-tackle type player, a straight-ahead runner. When he has to run wide, it's very difficult for him to get that big body turned upfield. But there he goes. He's the man. He's the bread and butter man when they need the tough yardage. Kevin Mack's the man who gets it for them.
Kosar 2 of 5 passing for 64 yards. The touchdown pass to Horde for 65 yards. 2nd and 11. That's complete. First down, Browns to the 41-yard line of the Eagles. Joyner made the tackle. News of that alleged incident we referred to, of course, disrupted practice somewhat early in the week, but things had calmed down by the end of the week, and Slaughter looks like he's really up for this one.
See how far off the ball the Cleveland Browns offensive line is. They do a good job protecting Kosar, though. Again, one of the things the Eagles wanted to do is pressure Kosar inside, make him run around back here, but this offensive line has done an excellent job protecting him.
First down, Browns, Eagles territory. Mack breaks one tackle, but the Eagles swarm in to stop him at the line of scrimmage. Clyde Simmons nails him there.
I can't overemphasize again, Tim, the way the ball is set at the line of scrimmage. When you watch this, when the Browns come to the line of scrimmage, the center, Mike Babb, will reach out in front of him with the ball about a yard from him, and then the lineman will line up on his shoulder pads, which put them about a yard and a half from the line of scrimmage. Now, what that does to the defense is it forces the defensive line to try to sneak up on the ball, and oftentimes they'll line up off sides. See how far off the ball they are? They're all lined up on the court on the center shoulders.
That's complete to the tight end, Galbraith. First down, Browns inside the Eagles' 30.
Big play for Galbraith, Tim. He doesn't catch very many passes because the Browns use a 3-wide set here most of the time when you want to throw. And Galbraith is basically in there as a blocker, but every once in a while they'll go to him as a receiver. That time, coming up with a big catch for the Browns. And I'm telling you, Cleveland is awfully impressive this afternoon, Tim.
Galbraith, a second-year man from USC, drafted number 6 a year ago by the Browns. They have a first down at the 29-yard line. 16-0 Browns lead. If you joined us late, they scored on their opening series a field goal, then took an interception in for a score. Kosar under some pressure for the first time, and it is complete to Langhorne. What a catch in traffic. Hopkins just about took his head off, and Langhorne hung onto the football at the 20-yard line.
Terrific catch, but an unbelievable throw. I talked to a number of defensive players who worked against Kosar. They said one reason why you have difficulty keying on Kosar is that oftentimes he'll throw the ball where he's not looking. Now watch this. He's looking inside, but watch it. Well, he's watching the receiver all the way here, but oftentimes he'll be looking in one direction and throw the ball off center a little bit. It's hard to really get the jump on him. Unbelievable pass by Kosar and a terrific reception by Langhorne.
Second and a long yard. Browns, if they get the first down here, will be into that red zone. Horde hit at the line. He'll be closer. Looks like he has the first down. William Thomas, the linebacker, a rookie from Texas A&M, made the tackle, but it'll be a first down. Well, let's see. They may measure this one. No, it is. First down, Cleveland. At the 18-yard line as time expires here at the end of the first quarter. That's the end of the first quarter with the score. The Browns 16, the Eagles nothing. (16-0) Cleveland score over Philadelphia, and the Browns driving again at the 18-yard line. First down. Kosar under pursuit. And just offloads that pass with Thomas, the linebacker, from one side and Joyner from the other, chasing him. But it goes harmlessly away. Second down and 10. There's Seth Joyner. Bud Carson makes an interesting comment about Joyner and his middle linebacking mate Byron Evans. He said those guys would be on the Pro Bowl if they talk more. He said a lot of the other name linebackers, they may be good, but they're better at socializing with their opponents. And those are the guys who vote. After the game, he says they chat him up, and during the game sometimes Joyner and Evans just do their job, and they're not as popular as a lot of the other guys around. It's a good point.
I guess they're not as political as other linebackers. Right. The guys go around soliciting votes and campaigning for votes during games.
Second and 10 Browns. They could blow it open here if they get some points on this drive. There's the fade, too far for Slaughter, and he had his man beat. Ben Smith, number 26, one-on-one with him, and Slaughter had him beat. Slaughter and Langhorne both flying around the field today.
One of the things the Browns do, Tim, is they always have their wide receivers on the deep patterns line up about 6 yards from the line of scrimmage, so it allows Kosar what they call the box, a 6-yard error, to be able to throw the ball to the outside shoulder of the receiver. Slaughter had the defensive back there badly beaten. The ball just wasn't there.
Third and 10. This is a huge play for the Philadelphia Eagles. 6 defensive backs in. And third and 10. Piano, Jenkins. And they throw the same pattern. Touchdown. Bernie Kosar, if you give him 2 tries at it, it's not likely he's going to miss on the second one. Slaughter did his job. He just duplicated what he did on the first play.
Boy, he thought he had the touchdown to begin with, and he said, oh, that was my fault. Let's do it again. Now, the Browns will have their wide receivers on deep patterns line up 6 yards from the sideline. That allows Bernie what they call the box. He can throw the ball to the outside, let the receiver fade out to it. Perfect throw and catch that time. The first time they barely miss it. This time they come up with 6, beating Rich Miano to the corner. Good execution.
Well, apparently the replay official, Bill Fetty, took a second look at that, presumably to see whether or not he was inbounds, in possession of the ball, when he fell down in the end zone, and they have said he was. Stover for the point after. And it's good. So the receiving partners, Slaughter and Langhorne, enjoy this one, and a 23-0 lead.
Is sponsored by Coors Light.
Game summary, well, it's dramatic. 128 yards, 23 points for the Cleveland Browns, and we're just barely into the second quarter. Rookie Eric Turner with a 42-yard interception return for a score. Leroy Horde, a 65-yard pass play from Bernie Kosar, and very early in the game, Kosar passed Bart Starr with consecutive passes without an interception, a streak that Starr held since 1965. The kickoff taken deep by Rod Harris and not brought out.
Okay, the key to this touchdown is that the Browns receivers will line up 6 yards from the sideline. You can see this right here. They line up 6 yards from the sideline, never go outside of that. So what that means then is that when Kosar throws a deep pass, he has what he calls the box. He has a margin of error there to lead the receiver away from the defensive back into the corner. Touchdown. Makes it look easy the way he does it, but he's pretty good at it.
Webster Slaughter ran the same play, 2 plays in a row, and on the second one they got it right. First down, Jim McMahon has struggled a bit here, 2 for 6, 19 yards. Came into the game with a new elbow injury and hits Williams for a first down, Philadelphia.
Man's pass is
Joined us
completed.
along the way when we talked to McMahon last night. He said he had taken a pain-killing shot on Friday after practice, and that he had a lot of swelling. It didn't go down. He didn't sleep well on Thursday night. He didn't sleep well again last night. Did not come out early to throw the ball as he usually does. He was having treatment right up until the pregame warm-up with the team. Then decided he could start the game, but he has not been throwing the ball as strongly as normal.
Yeah. That injury, Tim, occurred a year ago in training camp when the rookie ran into his elbow while he was going through a scrimmage. And it just flared up on him all of a sudden just recently.
First down, Eagles, as McMahon connected to Williams. And he's got an open man out there. Keith Jackson make it to Barnett, pardon me. Barnett, number 86, on the far sideline. A gain of about 6.
This is really something, Tim, the Eagles would not like to do. Because they're down here, they're trying to get back in the ball game. The best way to do it, I guess, is to throw it, save time on the clock, and advance the football. But Rich Kotite is a stickler about controlling the line of scrimmage with the running game. They have to get that established and try to see if they can't stop that front 4 and give McMahon time to throw, and he does put it up.
Rich Kotite checking out his playlist here. 2nd and 5. 2 setbacks. And they go to Joseph, and he finds a hole. James Joseph, a rookie from Auburn. First down to the Browns' 40-yard line. They'll spot it at the 41. Vince Newsom steered him out.
That's exactly what I was talking about, Tim. This is what the Eagles would like to do, establish domination of the offensive line by running the football. Dennis McKnight at left guard and David Alexander do a pretty good job on the left side of the line there, along with Ron Heller, springing James Joseph. We know Joseph, when he gets rolling, is a pretty tough guy to bring down because he breaks a lot of tackles. That offensive line has done a real good job for the Eagles the last few weeks.
68 yards on 18 carries in the second half Monday night against the Giants. 2 touchdowns in that game. Kotite said he'll get a lot of work today. He has it again. Gets about 4, plowing behind McKnight and Alexander.
Interesting enough, Tim, the Eagles will rotate their offensive linemen quite a bit. Dennis McKnight is normally the starting left guard, but it doesn't matter who starts because John Hudson comes in there and spells him, and then Ron Salt, the right guard, starts there, and then Rob Selby will spell him. But right now he's got Hudson in there at left guard, along with Lon Heller at left tackle, and between the two of them, they're doing a pretty good job establishing the running game on the left side.
James Jones on the tackle, the rookie from Northern Iowa for the Browns on the last play. 2nd down and 7. They gave him 3 yards in that carry. McMahon quickly out for Keith Jackson. Jackson breaks 1 tackle, dives forward, turns it into about a 5-yard gain. Richard Brown, the middle linebacker, playing for the injured Mike Johnson, and Tony Blaylock for the injured Frank Minifield. Minifield is inactive today because of a shoulder injury suffered last week against Cincinnati.
But Keith Jackson came into the season this year, Tim, wanting to improve his blocking because he's an all-pro tight end, and everybody knows he's a great receiver, but he's a tremendous blocker at Oklahoma University, and he came into camp this year wanting to concentrate on his blocker so he'd be a complete tight end. He's doing a pretty good job with that right now, as well as catching the football.
3rd and 2 Eagles in Cleveland territory, and Antone Davis pulled back to set up for the pass block a little early, and there are 3 flags down on the play.
False start prior to the snap. Number 78 offense. 5-yard penalty. Repeat 3rd down.
6th penalty against the Eagles so far.
Antone jumps prematurely here. It's hard to tell why because there's nothing going on up front, but he just gets a premature start. He's had some problems with his pass protection. He's very conscious of it, but the offensive line coach in Philadelphia told me that he's coming along quite nicely, and the kid is rounding into a pretty good football player. He's the #1 pick this year. He's quite a load at 325 pounds.
11 minutes, 5 seconds left till halftime. They go to the shotgun on 3rd down. The fade for Calvin Williams, incomplete. And Williams battling with Tony Blaylock the whole way. There's a flag down. And it could just as easily be against the wide receiver, Williams. Let's see how this one comes down.
Well, I could take a look at this, but the key on the other end of this pass, though, too, Tim, is that McMahon gets knocked down on this play. After he delivers it, here comes the heat. There's a blitz being called by the Browns, and here's the first hit right there. Looks like number 57, Clay Matthews, the man who knocked him down.
Number 24, spot foul, automatic 1st down.
On the other end, it was pass interference to the defense.
They call it on Blaylock, and Irv, I know you'll have something to say about this.
Yeah, I will. I don't know. I think that's really offensive pass interference. In my estimation, when a defensive back has position on a receiver, in this case, Blaylock has good inside position, trying to make a play on the football, and the receiver comes over his back, that is offensive pass interference. But unfortunately, they oftentimes call it on the defense, Tim.
Well, they did that time, and it's a break for the Eagles, who are now inside the 20 at the 19, trailing 23-0. Myers breaks the tackle, still battling, and turns it into a 3-yard gain. Michael Dean Perry had a chance to drop him for a loss, but it was the linebacker Brown who finally got him. Terrific effort by Keith Byers, playing with a sore back.
Brown made the tackle, Tim, but again, Michael Dean Perry, number 92, is the guy who causes all kinds of havoc up there because he penetrates so well, and when he gets beyond the line of scrimmage, he forces a lot of plays wider than they want to be. Really, Byers wanted to take that ball off tackle, but he couldn't when he saw number 92 chasing him, and he broke the play down.
44 tackles coming into the game for Perry, the old pro on this line with just 4 years of experience. And he's got Jackson, touchdown. Keith Jackson. And McMahon put that one right on the money, and Keith Jackson was wide open in the hole in the middle.
That was a tremendous drive, Tim. A gutsy drive by McMahon. He was knocked down a couple of times. He still got off the turf. And now here he throws a touchdown pass to Keith Jackson from his tight end spot on the right side of their screen, working against the linebacker, number 58, David Brandon, dropped him, and he waltzes in for the touchdown. Gutsy drive by the Eagles and McMahon.
Well, almost a situation where they had to score on that drive to get themselves back into this football game. Roger Ruzek for the point after, and it's good. And McMahon continues to pay every time he's thrown the football. He's taken a hit of some kind. The last one's a little questionable, and this one too, Burnett, after the ball is gone. Stadium, and the Eagles finally on the scoreboard, and desperately needed score. 23-7. The touchdown pass from McMahon to Keith Jackson, 16 yards. After the Browns had rolled into a quick 23-zip lead. Danny Peebles turning Ruzek's kickoff, and a flag down as he gets to the 25-yard line. Jesse Small made the tackle. And again, the Eagles hurt themselves, this time on the kickoff return. Illegal use of hand signal. Howard Rowe, the referee.
Illegal block, number 43 on the return team. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
Well, next Sunday, doubleheader action on the NFL on CBS. Game 1, the Washington Redskins, still undefeated, at least to this point in today's action. They'll take on the Steelers. Most of you will see the Dallas Cowboys battle the Giants in Game 2, a huge game in the NFC East. Please check your local listings. It all begins with the NFL Today at 12:30 Eastern Time. Said the penalty on the Eagles, of course, meant the Browns, who are backed up to their 10-yard line. And we'll start from there. On first down, Mack. Back maybe a yard. Middle of that Eagles defense, stuffing them. Jerome Brown making the hit with William Thomas. Here at Cleveland Stadium, the Browns jumped into an early lead, 23-0. The Eagles have just scored on their last possession, and the Browns starting deep inside their own end. Jim McMahon playing with a sore elbow today. Started slowly, but has come on. Kosar, and he is complete. Brian Brennan, first down at the 21-yard line of the Browns.
This guy has made so many big plays for the Browns over the years, Tim. You have a tendency to take him for granted. Last week he had a little problem and dropped a key play against Cincinnati, and he felt very badly about that. But here's a guy who's a go-to man in tough situations, basically a possession receiver, very smart pattern runner. That time he broke up for a hook pattern, realized there was a hole between himself and the linebacker, took it, and he and Kosar read it for the first down.
22 catches coming into the game for Brennan. His teammate Webster Slaughter getting their last touchdown on the fade pattern from Kosar. And again, the Eagles defense stuffing the run, led by Byron Evans, the linebacker number 56 in the middle, and quickly joined by a couple of teammates, Mike Golick and Seth Joyner. That'll make it second down and 11.
Here's a guy right there who's a real student of the game, Tim. Byron Evans studies the game closely. An honor student in college, you know, and this guy makes all the key calls out there. And as far as Bud Carson's concerned, as you said before, he ought to be in the Pro Bowl.
Yes, he thinks Joyner and Evans are definitely Pro Bowl caliber, just not as well known, and as you said, they're not as good politicians as some of the other leading linebackers. Second, a long 11. Ford in the backfield now for the Browns. Kosar gets time, goes deep for Brennan.
Kosar's pass incomplete, intended for Brian Brennan.
You know, knowing how Kosar is about repeating plays, this time Brennan in a sprint with Isaiah Jenkins trailing number 46, number 48. Wes Hopkins also trailing. Has him beaten by a step. Can't quite get it. He laid out there trying to make the catch if he possibly could, but it was a little long. I think when the Browns want to go long, they have a guy who can make a play like that. Michael Jackson, number 1, who has the speed and size to reach out and pull those down. He's down at the lower end of your screen right now on Eric Allen. He's going in motion.
Kosar goes to the short man Slaughter, and Slaughter is stopped short of the first down. Ben Smith wraps him up at the 30-yard line. And so the Eagles, with a good defensive play on that one, have forced the Browns to their first punt of the afternoon. Former New Orleans Saint Brian Hansen standing at his 15-yard line. 7:12 remaining. First half, 23-7, Cleveland lead. Harris awaiting the punt, and it's a good one. Harris backed up to the 16. Runs into a linebacker at the 28, Richard Brown. And the Eagles, trailing 23-7, will start from that point. Far 23-7. Bernie Kosar, a hot day, and early in the game he passed the great Bart Starr with consecutive passes without an interception. He's now up to 307. Bart Starr, the record set in 64-65, 294. But it's Jim McMahon's turn. He marched the Eagles downfield for a score on the last drive. From Philadelphia's 30-yard line. McMahon going deep. He's got a man. Touchdown. Well, don't worry about McMahon's elbow, you Eagles fans. 70 yards. Perfect pass. Barnett never broke stride. And the Eagles quickly back into this ball game with 6:47 still to play first half. What an amazing guy is Jim McMahon.
Tim, I'm sitting here almost breathless. We know he has a severely injured right elbow, and there he goes, winning that ball out there as far as he can. He's not a real great deep passer anyway, but this is timed perfectly. Barnett in full stride catches the ball and streaks in the end zone for a 70-yard touchdown, and this crowd is stunned.
Six consecutive pass completions by McMahon after a shaky start. 70 yards for the score. Ruzick with a point after. And it is now 23-14. And that silenced the crowd, even those in the dog pound. We'll be right back. Never really been talked about at the highest echelon. When you watch this work today, you got to believe they should be.
Well, McMahon is just picking up where he left off Monday night. Rich Kotite told us this guy played an absolutely brilliant game quarterbacking the Eagles to a victory over the Giants last week. And here today he comes in with a severely injured elbow. And that last touchdown pass, I'm telling you, he put everything in it he had, winged it out there for the touchdown to Barnett. Couldn't have been any better.
23-14, a little different complexion on the game now after the Browns had rolled to a quick 23-0 lead. 16-0 at the end of the first quarter. We have 6:44 remaining first half. Danny Peebles, good return by the Browns, all the way out to the 45-yard line of Cleveland. A 32-yard run back by Danny Peebles.
We're going to take a look at the previous play, Tim, with the touchdown pass from McMahon to Barnett. Now watch this delivery. He has quick delivery. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, sets up and lets that ball go, and he really drove into it. And you can see how happy he is about it. That was just a terrific play. What that does now to the Brown defense is it raises a red flag and says, look, we can't take anything for granted out here. This guy can throw the deep ball.
First down Browns, the ball at the 44-yard line. And the good return by Danny Peebles, the ex-Buccaneer wide receiver. Two backs, Horde and Mack. Play action from Kosar. And he goes deep to Langhorne, and Eric Allen all over that one. Knocks it down.
This is really great execution by a great defensive back, Tim, but Kosar's pass when it went out sort of hung up on him a little bit. It's probably, again, the influence of the wind in the stadium, but Eric Allen is one of the best one-on-one coverage men in the league. Handled that play nicely.
Second down and 10. Slot formation right this time from the Browns with Mack the lone setback. Kosar under pressure, interception. Ben Smith, first down, Eagles at the 47-yard line, and Ernie Kosar's interception streak finally snapped. Byron Evans had the pressure on that led to that intercept, and the crowd gives Kosar a standing ovation. .309 passes before he was picked off. It was last December against Atlanta. But this is a big one for the Philadelphia Eagles. First down near midfield. And he'll throw it. He's got Keith Jackson inside the 20 to the 17-yard line. And again, McMahon with a perfectly thrown pass. Jackson in full stride. 33 yards.
Timmy described it beautifully. This guy has tremendous touch and great anticipation in terms of what the defense is going to do. He threw this ball in a spot where he knew there would be a vacancy. Jackson just ran under it, beat the zone. That's experience.
First and 10 Eagles at the Cleveland 18.
To the 18-yard line. Eagles threatening. 5:43 remaining first half. 23-14 Cleveland lead. Another remarkable performance by Jim McMahon. Byers, good hold. Flag down. Byers to the 5-yard line. Have to wait on the penalty. David Brandon, the linebacker, number 58, made the tackle. Holding against the Eagles. They continue to hurt themselves with infractions.
Holding, number 73 offense, 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
This established record. Here he is cleaning back here. There's a lot of pressure up front. He's throwing the ball.
First down, 20.
Inside. They finally picked off, and that ends the record streak he had going.
There's Ben Smith getting it to the 49-yard line, but the Eagles backed up on the holding penalty against Heller. Are now at the Browns 29. McMahon gets it out for James Joseph, and the rookie makes the grab. He's hit immediately after a gain of about 5. Good reaction by the Browns. Brandon, the linebacker, Turner, and Blaylock from the secondary. Ball spotted at the 22-yard line of the Browns. It leaves 2nd and 15. Byers comes in. Joseph goes out a little slowly. I wasn't sure of the substitution. McMahon has completed 8 passes in a row after a shaky start, which appeared to be because of the sore elbow that he has brought into this game. 2 sleepless nights in a row with the pain from that elbow, but he is now sharp. And he finds his man again, Barnett. Barnett appears to be at the 15-yard line. Well, they'll spot it at the 16. And that'll leave 3rd down, 9.
You have lots of impressions of Jim McMahon and how he approaches the game, but talking to the quarterback coach, Zeke Bratkowski, about McMahon, you know, he's kind of a real student of the game. We'll go into team meetings, he's lying on the couch, and looks like he's sleeping, but he hears and sees everything going on in the meeting and repeats verbatim what's going on. He understands this game thoroughly. A great field leader.
Maurice Johnson, the tight end, in motion. The pass complete to Keith Jackson, fighting for the first down. He'll be short. Jackson got to about the 7-yard line. Well, let's see. He'll be reasonably close. This could be a measurement, and no, he's got it. First down. What a job by Keith Jackson. He was hit a good 1.5 yards short of the first down, and with that big strength at 250 pounds, Vince Newsom trying to hold him back from the marker, Jackson wouldn't let him.
Well, that's the thing that impresses you more than anything else. Vince Newsom was a leading tackler on this Browns defense, and this guy comes up and makes a lot of big plays for him. That time, Jackson was able to drive forward for the additional yardage for the first down.
First and goal from the 7. Joseph. Good defensive pursuit. At the Browns' left side, the linebacker Brandon and Brown. Eric Turner getting into it.
Yeah. Eric Turner has made quite an impression here since he's started in this defense here for the Browns. Watch number 29 come on your screen here, the strong safety, the #1 pick out of UCA. This guy is a real big hitter. Now watch, wham, there he is. He likes to drive through tacklers. He said, when I tackle a ball carrier, I envision myself going through him. I don't want to stop where he is. I want to put my head right through his body.
Second and goal. We've reached the 2-minute warning. The Eagles threatening from the 6. Jim McMahon ties an Eagle club record set by Norm Snead against the Browns back in 1964. And for McMahon, his only idea is to get it into the end zone. Takes a deeper drop, waits, throws it out of bounds. Again, a well-considered decision by the mature quarterback, as he gave everybody a chance in that end zone to get looser, but then decided, nope, I'm not going to take a chance. It's out of here.
Yeah, let's go ahead and throw it away. But again, you can see him directing traffic back there. He has his ability to read defenses and find open people quickly is uncanny. And he was trying to really direct one of his receivers to an open spot, couldn't get it done, so he threw it away.
Anthony Pleasant has come in at right defensive end, number 98 for the Cleveland Browns, a second-year man from Tennessee State. Bill Belichick watching this young defense grow under his direction. They have been strained here by McMahon and the Eagles. Byers draw play. Good defensive reaction. Byers, good second effort. It's to the 4-yard line, but the field goal unit will come on for the Eagles. 1:23. Make it 1:42 remaining. 1:42 remaining. In this first half, the Browns take a timeout. Michael Dean Perry stopping Byers. Roger Ruzek comes on. He's 14 of 17 in the field goal department.
Here's a guy, Tim Byers. Everybody had a lot of questions about coming into this ball game because he had a back injury sustained last Monday night against the Giants. He didn't practice much during the week and had to sort of work out those kinks, but he was determined to play in this game. He's from Dayton, Ohio, not that too far down the road here. He has a lot of relatives at this game, and there wasn't any way he'd miss it. Great Ohio State player, and he's given everything he has today.
Well, he's had a couple of great second effort plays so far that have been key. Eagles will hold for Ruzek. They're going to spot it inside the 12-yard line, so it should be a 21-yard field goal attempt. Ruzek, he's directly in front of the post. And it's good.
Field goal is good.
So the Eagles, with a terrific comeback here, have made it 23-17, and we'll be back at a moment. Well, there's a flag on the play deep in the end zone on the field goal try.
Field goal is good. It's no flag on a play. Debris in the end zone.
Okay, well, there was a flag, Howard, but what you're saying is it was inadvertent. So 1:39 remains first half, and the Browns still on top. Breaks a tackle. There are flags on the play, but another good return from Danny Peebles. And he gets out to the 35-yard line. Otis Smith making the push out of bounds, but the flag is back near the 25-yard line on the return, a 25-yard run back. And this will be against the Browns.
Illegal block. Number 37 on the return. Receiving team penalized 10 yards. First down.
Harlan Barnett, and he hurts the good return. Following the NFL Today postgame show, CBS Sports brings you the final round coverage with players over 40 competing for the Amoco Centel Championship from Hilton Head. Hilton Head, South Carolina. Jim Nance and Ben Wright with Curtis Strange, Bobby Clampett will be on hand to bring you that golf action. 4:30 Eastern, following our NFL Today postgame show. Kevin with a direct snap and gets out to the 25-yard line. They used that against Cincinnati last week in the losing effort, but they caught the Eagles there.
That's really a good-looking play, Tim, because the Eagles in their prevent defense with the 6 defensive backs on the field and 4 defensive linemen up there want to get that front 4 really going, and a play like that can be quite effective.
First down in the hurry up. Brennan fights for another first down. Ryan Brennan, number 86, and they're quickly out to their 36-yard line. 52 seconds and counting down. Kosar, one of the best in this 2-minute drill. 4 wide receivers. Sideline, and an injured Eagle is down. Nobody hit him, and that left Slaughter wide open. Ben Smith in some serious pain. An unusual situation there, a 16-yard gain and a first down. Now the Browns will not be able to continue the hurry up because the Eagles have a player on the field.
Yeah, they'll call a timeout here, Tim, for the injury, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. But Ben Smith went down immediately. No one touched him. He was making a cut on the play here to try to change position and went down. And looks like they're working on his leg. Number 26 on the corner there. On the outside, you'll see him working against 84 Webster Slaughter. Now when Slaughter turns inside, now he tries to go with him, and bang, his leg just went out. Just went out. Footing was good and everything else. It just simply went out on him.
Well, Ben Smith, of course, that'll be a big loss. He and Eric Allen, perhaps the best pair of cornerbacks in the entire National Football League. So that could be devastating for the Eagles. 40 seconds still to play, first half. The Browns lead the Eagles, having surrendered a 23-0 lead. 2 timeouts each remaining. 40 seconds left first half. The injury to Ben Smith, an unusual one, on the coverage against Webster Slaughter. We'll see again what happened.
Take a look again. He's got inside position on Slaughter as he stops here to come back. His leg, there it is right there, his left leg. You see his knee just buckled on him as he went down. And again, a big injury for the Eagles if this winds up being a serious problem. Last week again, or a couple of weeks ago against San Francisco, Ben Smith held Jerry Rice to only 2 catches for 4 yards. To tell you the kind of a defensive back he is. He's just a great single coverage guy, but right now he's has a problem with his leg.
It was good reaction by Rich Miano to come over there as quickly as he did to pick up Slaughter. Slaughter would have had the whole sideline to run to the end zone. Quick look at the scoreboard, and of course Greg and Terry will be along shortly to bring you up to date on what's happened in these games, and that looks like a dandy at halftime. Dallas and Houston, and this is not a good sign. They're bringing out a wheelchair for Ben Smith, the second-year man from Georgia, their first pick a year ago. Very mature as a rookie, under fire right from the get-go as a starter. Played some safety, then moved to the corner, and by the end of the season, people were talking about him like a veteran.
Well, he's been playing like a veteran, Tim. He plays with a great deal of confidence. He has great reaction, and just a complete cornerback. Again, with Eric Allen and Ben Smith on the corners, the Eagles had the 2 best single coverage people in the game, and they're going to miss him sorely.
It'll probably be Izell Jenkins taking over on the corner. Normally the nickel back comes in as a 5th man in their nickel defense, and has played as a regular on the corner in the past. And in this hurry up that was stopped by the injury, Booty, Miano, and Otis Smith come into the nickel defense here in this final 40 seconds of the first half.
Well, traditionally, Tim, when you get a substitution at that corner position, you work on it right away. Let's see if Kosar goes to the left corner, his right side, on this next pass.
They put Otis Smith out on the corner and left Jenkins in his normal nickel position. Otis Smith, number 30. Ball at the 47 of Philadelphia. Kosar, he's got a man open. Langhorne, first down. 25-yard line of Philadelphia. John Booty made the tackle there, number 42, the former Jet from TCU. Kosar finding that open man. 32 seconds left in a timeout taken by the Browns.
This is really a tough situation for the defense here now, though, too, Tim, because the Browns are in a position where they know they're in field goal range already. they can take a chance or maybe go deep in the end zone, perhaps. But as far as the defensive coach is concerned, his thinking now is of trying to knock them out of field goal range. So you'd probably think of some kind of a blitz. Now, if you're going to blitz the Browns with Kosar at quarterback, it's a high-risk maneuver. But the Eagles have done that in the past in this situation with the ball here around the 25-yard line to try to knock the opposing team out of field goal range. So this is a big play.
You saw Stover getting ready in case he's called upon. Kosar 11 of 19, 1 interception, 2 touchdowns. Michael Jackson in motion. Kosar under heat, steps up nicely. Goes for Langhorne. Reggie Langhorne. Art Modell loves it. So do all the Browns fans here at Cleveland Stadium on a sunny, cold day where the Browns respond to the Eagles' comeback with a touchdown, 27 seconds left in the half. Kosar's 3rd touchdown pass of the first half. And it's 30-17 Browns.
Tim, this is what I was talking about. If you try to blitz Kosar and he knows it's coming, you're in trouble. The Eagles go into a blitz. Here they come. Here comes Booty, number 42, trying to put on pressure. And he spots 88, Reggie Langhorne, working to the corner for the touchdown. Unbelievable.
Langhorne and Webster Slaughter's already got a touchdown pass. Greet each other. There's Slaughter right there. A couple of good high fives getting up there. Those 2 receivers. Bernie Kosar having another brilliant afternoon. 24-yard touchdown pass. 85 yards in 5 plays.
Tim, talking to Kosar yesterday, he said that he only wished that I said, what do you think about Bud Carson coming back as defensive coordinator for the Eagles? He said, well, I don't really mind that. He said, I only wish Bud was playing defensive end for the Eagles. You know, had him on the football field instead of on the sideline coaching.
Well, they have done a good job protecting Bernie Kosar's offensive line. He hasn't had to worry too much about Reggie White and Clyde Simmons. So far in this first half, that Eagles front 4 has not been able to get much pressure on Kosar. Stover, the kickoff. Harris from the 4. Harris cut it inside. Good return to the 31-yard line. Brian Brennan made the tackle there, tripping him up. 26-yard return. 21 seconds remain in the first half. Kosar 12 of 20, 215 yards, 3 touchdowns. And Kosar, well, he put it nicely. He did indicate that, yes, he was looking forward to beating the defensive Bud Carson, the man who had the temerity to bench him during the Browns' struggles a year ago. Carson later fired. And that has added some spice to this matchup today. So the Eagles let the clock wind down and head to the locker room down 30-17. A stunner in Cleveland. Bill Belichick with that stoic look, and the enthusiastic fans of the Browns loving it here in Cleveland. So at halftime, the Browns 30, the Eagles 17. Performance deserved. This is the touchdown pass McMahon threw that made it 23-14.
That was really a big play at that time for a lot of reasons. First of all, it got the Eagles back in the game, and Barnett, of course, rambled 70 yards for this touchdown pass. And secondly, McMahon was able to put a lot of stress on that bad elbow and look pretty good at it.
Sure did. Now, in the final minute, Kosar marched downfield, took a little wind out of the sails of the Eagles.
A lot of wind out of the sails, Tim. He marched practically the length of the field with very little time left on the clock against the league's #1 defense. He hit this touchdown pass just before the half. When you get a play like that before halftime, it takes a lot of gas out of your ball club.
Well, it sure does. You have to wonder about, here's this real tough #1 rated defense in the entire NFL. They haven't been able to stop Bernie Kosar. They have been the main force of the Eagles when they've struggled offensively. They've really got to do it in the second half, or it's going to be a Browns day.
Well, they have to do it, and they have to do it up front. The strength of that Eagle defense is their front four. They have not been much of a factor in this first half. I'm surprised to see how the Cleveland Browns offensive line has been able to handle that big front four up there. They've been able to do it. Bud Carson has to figure out some way to break those guys loose. That's the only way they'll get back in this ball game.
Well, you have to just marvel at the performances of these two quarterbacks. Bernie Kosar, of course, broke Bart Starr's non-interception mark today, but it's really what he's done in making the big plays, including the one to Langhorne in the final minute. And for Jim McMahon, when we saw him last night, you had to say there's no chance. In fact, he himself said, if I had to play right now, guys, forget about it. I won't be there. A sleepless night. No proper warm-up today until the team came on the field, and here he is with those numbers.
Yeah. Well, last night he couldn't even raise his arm, Tim, and right now he's playing football, and here go the Browns to open the second half.
So Matt Stover will kick it off, and anybody that was here for the start of this game isn't going to leave the way it's gone so far. 30-17, and we're only halfway home. Harris, the deep man, number 80. He'll take it deep in the end zone. Stover, a dandy kickoff, and there'll be no return. Well, there's Bud Carson and his Eagles, #1 in defense. You can see the difference. 217 yards allowed per game, and that's for a full game. They've already given up 228 in the first half here in Cleveland.
Most of that's been through the air, though. Their pass defense is sort of broken down in this first half. Kosar has just been uncanny throwing the football.
And, of course, the Eagles have lost to Ben Smith with a knee injury in that final minute of the first half. McMahon starts from the 20-yard line. James Joseph, the rookie from Auburn, number 32, bulls his way for 4, maybe 5 yards on the play. David Brandon, the linebacker, made the tackle. For the Browns, jumping into that 23-0 lead, a 30-17 lead at this point. In the wild card race, they're at 4-5 right now. Every win now for the Browns is crucial because they trail 4 teams in the AFC wild card. The Chiefs, who are 6-3, the Raiders at 5-4, along with the Seahawks and the Jets also at 5-4, and they're tied with the Dolphins at 4-5. So they just can't afford to lose any more games if they have any realistic shot at a playoff. 2nd and 5, Eagles, who are in a similar situation in the NFC. Sideliner goes to Barnett, and he has the first down.
When you're trailing like this in the game, Tim, you're tempted to say, let's go out and throw the football and get back quickly. But really, most coaching staffs, including the Eagle staff right now, is just get back to our normal game and see if we can't get back into a rhythm here to get things going for us. The first thing you want to do is establish domination on the ground by running the football. And when we throw, we want to throw with some kind of play action passing and short, quick rhythm passing to give McMahon a chance to get the ball off without getting hit.
First down, Eagles. They're at their 30-yard line. And they continue to throw it. McMahon deep sideline to Williams. First down near the 40-yard line. And again, plenty of mustard on the ball from Jim McMahon. Calvin Williams with a good catch.
Calvin Williams made a great play on this ball. But again, he was forced to release outside. He's almost out of bounds there, but as he goes to the sideline, but stays in bounds. Makes the catch, gets both feet in before he's finally knocked out. Number 24, Tony Blaylock on the coverage there. But again, Calvin Williams did a pretty good job staying in bounds there.
30-yard gain, McMahon to Calvin Williams. And the ball at the 40-yard line of Cleveland, opening series second half. Sherman, first carry of the game, gets to the 34-yard line of the Browns. A pretty good run of about 6, maybe 7. Clay Matthews and Richard Brown, the linebackers, combined.
Tim, we talked at halftime about how you get back into a ball game. We said the Eagles front four, of course, will have to get going, but the key really is to dominate the line of scrimmage. Do that with both lines of offensive line as well as defensive line. If the Eagles want to get into this game, they have to get, again, this running game started and show the Browns they can control the ball and control the line of scrimmage.
Two tight ends in now for the Eagles. Maurice Johnson joining Keith Jackson. Second down along 4. Joseph and Sherman, the running backs. Sherman breaks a tackle, has a first down, Eagles. Running out the right side. Eric Turner came up from safety to make the stop. Well, it'll be interesting to see what the halftime adjustments are, particularly in the part of the Eagles with their defense. But you also have to wonder about Bill Belichick and his defense in the second half, because McMahon has moved the ball at will, and he's got a shuffled secondary with the injuries to Frank Minifield, who's out of the ball game today, and of course Mike Johnson, the middle linebacker, and secondary players Mark Harper, Raymond Claiborne, Thane Gash have all been gone since the start of the year. So he's got some problems in the secondary, and McMahon has been working them over. First down. That's complete to Sherman out of the backfield at the 19-yard line, and it looks like it'll be close to another first down. No, just short. They spot the ball just inside the 20. Richard Brown and Eric Turner make the stop.
The last time we saw Hugh Sherman carry the load for the Eagles, we were doing the game down in Tampa Bay. Of course, the Eagles lost that game, but he became the big ball carrier in that game for them and showed he could run the football. He's also a pretty good receiver, but the thing they like about him is his quickness. He has the ability to get up into the hole quickly and break big plays.
Well, Byers has not appeared here in the second half, and that back injury apparently is bothering him. Knowing Byers, he'll get back into this. James Joseph off tackle. Good tackle by the linebacker Brown, ranging over, nailing him from behind. But it looks like he has the first down. The rookie from Auburn, there's Byers, and remember he took that helmet in the back Monday night against the Giants, and it's bothering him now.
That's an injury you can't do a whole lot with, Tim. When you have those back spasms and back injuries, you try to just you take muscle relaxers or whatever to try to loosen things up, but when it starts to tighten up on you, you can't do much about it.
Well, they're measuring on that last one. We had awarded it to the Eagles, and indeed they do have it. First down, and they're at the 19, make it the 18-yard line. This is the opening series of the second half. 30-17 after the Eagles had come back to close it to 23-17. The Browns responded with that touchdown pass from Kozar to Langhorne in the final minute. The barks begin. Joseph. Second effort gets to the 15. The ball came loose, but play whistled dead prior to the fumble. And he gets about 4 on the play.
I want to emphasize again, Tim, that in order to control a football game, you have to control at the line of scrimmage. You know that and the Eagles, I'm sure at halftime, figure, well, let's not panic. Let's get back to our normal game plan. And the first thing you want to do is establish the run, so we can keep that defensive line off of Jim McMahon when he does throw the football. And that's exactly what they've done. He's mixed up his plays quite nicely on this drive, throwing pretty much when he wanted to, because he's had good yardage on first down runs.
James Joseph has picked up 45 yards rushing so far. And now McMahon directs traffic. Anderson pressure, gets a good block, gets it off, incomplete. Intended for Barnett, but it looked like he just threw that one away with 2 men coming over to pick up Barnett in the corner. And now you see McMahon limping a little bit. He told us that it hurts more when he just runs. That's his bad knee, the right knee. He's got a new brace on it.
Yeah, he said it tightens up on him. He has a heavy brace on his right leg, and well, it's a large brace, it's a lightweight brace, but he says his thigh muscles sort of just tighten up on him. He can't stretch it out. And he's trying to lean out there now and get something behind that pass. Couldn't quite do it. And that's really his biggest problem right now, is his right knee and not his right arm.
That elbow doesn't seem to be bothering him at all. downs here, deep in Browns territory. Complete to Keith Jackson, a flag down. And it looked like they tried to stop the play, so that would signal maybe a false start. McMahon threw the ball anyway. Jackson caught it.
Prior to the snap, false start, number 78 offense.
Antone Davis.
Repeat, third down.
The rookie continues to have his problems, although I think credit must be given to the Eagles offensive line through the first half, playing as well as they did Monday night.
Well, they did a good job Monday night, and they're doing a reasonably good job here, but this is the second call on Antone Davis today for a false start. Remember in the first quarter you had one on a drive. They were moving inside to score. Now here he does it again. He's just a little anxious, trying to get off line. One reason for that, though, Tim, is they make a lot of line calls up there just before the ball is snapped. He's probably listening to his guard, Ron Salt, to find out what his blocking assignment should be.
On third down, the fade for Keith Jackson, overthrown. So that'll bring up fourth down. Jackson complaining that perhaps he was pushed. Eric Turner, the UCLA rookie, was the guy who had the coverage, and Keith Jackson still hot about it. So is McMahon.
They have to really be careful about this. Number 88, Jackson, is the man going right out the middle of the field to the right side. There he is right there, and he's bumped by Turner. Looks all right to me.
Well, you can't bump him that far down the field, Irv.
Well, it's only 5 yards off the line. He's allowed to make that bump, but there was contact before that. After that, and the Eagles didn't like it.
Meanwhile, the field goal is good from Roger Ruzek, 37 yards out, and it is 30-20. 8:41 to go in the third.
Eagles are complaining about. Here's Keith Jackson, the tight end. Now here's 5 yards up from the line of scrimmage. The defensive back can make contact within that area. If he makes contact after that, it's pass interference, illegal use of hands or pass interference. Now here, boom, Turner hits Jackson about 10 yards upfield, and Jackson wanted to flag and didn't get it.
Now Ruzek kicked the 37-yard field goal. There's the unhappy Jackson. He and McMahon were still arguing when the field goal unit was lined up. The kickoff is taken by Peebles, and Peebles this time is stopped at the 27-yard line. He's had a good day returning kickoffs for Cleveland. Rich Miata made the stop that time. At Cleveland Stadium, we've got a wide-open football game with two great quarterback performances. Jim McMahon for the Eagles, Bernie Kosar for Cleveland, 30-20. Eagles marching the opening kickoff of the second half down for a 37-yard field goal by Roger Ruzek to make it 30-20. Eagles led in this game 23-0. First down, Cleveland. Browns led in this game 23-0. And on first down, the Browns get it to the 30-yard line, a gain of about 2. Early in the second period, the Cleveland Browns were on top 23-0, and then the Eagles went to work. 3 consecutive scores and a 30-17 lead by Cleveland at halftime on the touchdown from Kosar to Langhorne in the final minute. Now that margin is 10. Second down and 8. Kosar under pressure goes to Horde. That's the play that went for a touchdown the last time they threw it. Joyner blitzing and Kosar hitting the hot man. The Eagles did a better job.
Again, the Eagles are putting the pressure on here, Tim, with a blitz. Now, Kosar sees that. Now, number 33, Horde, is a hot man, and oftentimes what deep backs will do is say, hot, 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 reforming the quarterback, let's get rid of the ball. And you see what happens there, that Andre Waters kind of came in late, and Kosar is walking away holding his right hand. You'd be surprised the number of times a quarterback will hit a player's helmet when he comes through and following through on his pass, and he's still shaking that right hand.
Third down and 8. Eagles nickel defense. Kosar gets some protection, but it's knocked down at the line by Mike Golick, number 90. Golick prepared for this game by doing his little television show that he does with Randall Cunningham in Philadelphia. And he crawled around in a dog pound, in a real dog pound in Philadelphia. Imitated several breeds, I'm told, quite effectively. And that was how he was getting pumped up to face the Browns in the dog pound here in Cleveland.
Well, he was born and raised here in Cleveland, went to St. Joseph High School, and has a lot of friends here. And so this is like a homecoming for him to come back and play the Browns at Cleveland Stadium.
Whoa, what a line drive punt that is. And Harris lets it bounce. It goes out of bounds. Nothing he could have done about that. It goes out at the 2-yard line. What a shot by Brian Hansen. 64 yards. Point margin. A look at that Eagles defense. They did the job on that series, but they struggled in the first half.
Boy, here's the name of the game. They like to get quarterbacks to knock them down. They average, we see 3.6 sacks per game. Today, they have only 1.
Now McMahon's got to start from deep in his own end after a brilliant punt by Brian Hansen, marked out at the 5. From the end zone. Deep sideline for Barnett. He's got it. First down to the 42-yard line. Running past Tony Blaylock. 38 yards.
You know what's going on here, Tim. Tony Blaylock is filling in for Frank Minifield, who's not in uniform today for the Cleveland Browns because he has a shoulder problem. And Blaylock wouldn't normally be on that corner, but McMahon, a wily veteran he is, takes advantage of that mismatch right here. Just lofting his ball up again, trying to get it out there quickly on the deep pass. And here's a completed pass, and the big one for the Eagles, getting him out of the hole. Fred Barnett, or Arkansas Fred, coming up with another big catch.
6 catches today, 140 yards. And that's the best for that young man in his young career. His second year from Arkansas State. This is Keith Jackson, and Jackson, it's about 6. Driven out of bounds by David Brandon and Tony Blaylock.
The thing about McMahon, Tim, though, and his delivery is very quick. He reads defenses quickly. He gets the ball out there quickly, but he spreads the ball around. He'll hit 6 or 7 people out here, and as far as he's concerned, the open man is the guy who gets the ball, and it gives this offense a real lift. Keith Jackson going out of bounds to number 88. Look who stops him, the head coach. Good job, Coach.
Pleasant comes into the game defensively for Logan on the Brown side of the ball. McMahon deep again for Calvin Williams, and he waited for the ball. It was actually still going for him, and Blaylock got some help that time from the safety, Eric Turner, and they were able to break it up.
Tim, what the Browns are doing, they're running a double zone. The New York Giants made a living with this for a long time. The corner comes up, play short, and they got a deep safety who kind of splits half the field. What McMahon is trying to do is trying to loft the ball over the cornerback's head and drop it in before the deep safety can come over. So it's sort of like it's a dead zone there, about 10 yards wide. If you time it up properly and drop the ball in there, you can complete a lot of passes. And so far, the Eagles have had some success doing it.
16 of 24 to this point, and he has had some success down both sidelines. 3rd down and 4, and short sideliner, first down to Barnett. The Browns try to wrestle him back. Braggs, number 36, but he already had the first down yardage, and the ball now at the 47-yard line of the Browns.
Watching McMahon work, I'm so excited. Watch that time they changed up from a double zone to a strong revolve. Now all they did was had the safety man come up and swing around, and the weak part of the zone, the weak part of the defense, was exactly where he threw the ball. He read it and bang, hit the soft spot of the defense right now. The guy's amazing.
Well, I thought that his game Monday night was one of the best quarterback games I've ever watched. Throughout the numbers, which were good. But when I said that to McMahon last night, he said, I don't know, that last series in the first half, he said, I should have had a touchdown there. He wasn't accepting the praise at all. He wasn't happy with it. And drills it out near sideline to Calvin Williams, and another 8-yard gain. And McMahon continues to pick apart this pass defense of the Browns. As we said, they've had to do a lot of shuffling here with Minifield out, Claiborne and Harper on injured reserve, Randy Hilliard missing the game today. He's been playing the right corner. So they've got 2 new corners in there today, Blaylock and Braggs, and that is exactly what McMahon likes to see.
And Eric Turner, number 29, because Blaylock right now is coming out of the game, but Eric Turner, number 29, the number 1 pick out of UCLA, is an outstanding rookie defensive back, but really he's never seen a quarterback like this one.
And it's his first full game. Now Hilliard has come into the game with a groin injury and all, replacing Blaylock. Joseph, and he's got running room and a good tackle out there on the right side of the defense by number 22, Vince Newsom. Came over on plan B from the Rams and leads this team in tackles. And again, he's in there for an injured player. Thane Gash had been the Browns starter, went down before the season began. So Bill Belichick has really done a great job with what he's had to work with here and the number of changes. He hasn't complained about the injuries. In fact, he doesn't even mention them. Everybody else does. Belichick just puts out guys and coaches them.
It's really funny. We're trying to get the starting lineup from him yesterday in our meeting with him, and he said Friday, and he wasn't quite sure who was going to start. Maybe this guy, maybe that guy, but I don't know.
First down, Eagles. Intended for Byers. What a catch! Keith Byers made a one-hand catch with 2 Browns draped all over him. They had a better shot at that ball than he did.
I don't know how in the world he came up with that football. Number 52, Richard Brown, the middle linebacker, was in good position to take that ball away, and Byers, who has larger than normal hands, went out and with a one-hand grab brought this ball down. Again, McMahon on the quick count sees the dog, number 29, Turner, blitzing, so Byers now becomes a hot man. And Byers was yelling at McMahon, I'm sure, at that time, because they have a rule when they see the blitz, they yell to the quarterback, hot, hot. McMahon turned and hit him right away.
2nd and 2, another impressive drive by the Eagles. Remember, they were down 23-0 in this game. And gets good protection again. Going on the run, incomplete, intended for Calvin Williams, and he gets a late flag at the sideline. He was bumped there by Hilliard. The flag was late, but it looked to me like it came with cause. Well, Belichick doesn't agree. The ball may have been uncatchable out of bounds. That would be my question on this.
Defensive pass interference, number 39, spot foul, automatic first down.
But a huge break there for the Eagles.
The key here, Tim, is this a catchable ball? It's way out of bounds. Here comes number 39, Randy Hilliard, making a play. Even though there's incidental contact there, that should not be pass interference. Okay, so he bumped it. So what? But the ball was 5 yards away. He couldn't catch it. Out of bounds. Forget about it. Line up and start over again. Hilliard, who came in as a late replacement in this game, picks up a penalty right away.
Yeah, the key there was that he couldn't have caught that ball without having very long arms and long legs to keep his toes in bounds. And it's a first down. Man, trying to get it to Jackson, sailed it a little bit. Wanted to make sure that it could be caught only by Jackson. That'll be 2nd down. McMahon signaling over there to Kotite. No doubt he has a play he wants to call, and this is his best day so far, limping around on a gimpy right knee, throwing with a sore elbow. You always have to wonder about his head.
He doesn't worry about it. He's really a throwback to the old days, Tim. On game day, you show up no matter what. You do what it takes and you play.
2nd and goal. And that's incomplete for Jackson again. Again, McMahon keeping it up high for the taller Jackson over the defender Newsom. A little too high as Newsom put a good lick on him.
Pretty good play by Newsom, number 22. You'll see him coming to your frame as Jackson to the left of your screen goes up high. Now here comes 22. Actually drilled him right in the chest, but timed it well enough so that as the ball arrived, he arrived with it.
Keith
Nice
Jackson playing with a sore hip and some sore ribs, so I'm sure a little tender just where Newsom got the lick on it. So it's 3rd and goal. Good job by the Browns. 2 plays in a row here defensively. And the dog pound getting into it at that end. That's the first bad pass he's thrown in this half. Too low for Keith Byers, and it's 4th down.
He got it out of there a little quick. It wasn't quite set up. He's dropping back as he threw the ball. Couldn't get much on it. And Eagles are forced to kick the field goal.
So the Eagles march down the field almost at will, but the Browns tighten up deep. And it'll be a field goal try for Ruzek. 24 yards. He has hit already in this game from 21 and 37. And it's good. So the Eagles have closed to within a converted touchdown of the Browns, and we have 2:42 still remaining in the third quarter. At Irv Cross, Cleveland Stadium, the Browns leading 30-23. The Eagles scoring on a field goal from 24 yards out by Roger Ruzek. A good march by Jim McMahon, and you can see that he's been grinding it out here. The Eagles 11 minutes of possession time in this third quarter. Kosar and company haven't been out there but more than a minute and 6. 89 yards and 11 plays, and while they were stopped short of a touchdown, they have closed to within 7 points. Crowd has quieted. They'll want something from Kosar on the offense on this series. Line shot bouncer. Peebles. And he is shut down. Driven back by number 36. Robert Drummond, the reserve running back. And we'll be back at Cleveland Stadium in a moment. Director Mike Arnold wonders whether this guy gets dressed at home and has the nerve to leave his driveway, or whether maybe he has his own dressing room here at the stadium. That's a leftover from Halloween. I wonder if he's still got his trick or treats with him. That's the dog pound, man. I tell you, they're serious.
You only find it here, right?
Oh,
They
yeah.
love their Browns.
All right, the Browns first down at their 25-yard line. And this is a big series for Cleveland. They've got to prove they can move the ball as they did in the first half. Kosar gets it off behind Brian Brennan, feeling that pressure at the last second. 2nd and 10. Ford comes on, number 33.
Tim, the problem Kosar is going to be facing now with 2nd and 10 is that the Eagles, with that big front four up there, can put an awful lot of pressure on the quarterback just rushing those 4 linemen and having 7 people drop back. So it's very difficult sometimes to throw into that. And we'll see if the Eagles elect to go to some kind of a blitz or just go after them with the front 4. I think they'll probably do that with their front 4 rush and try to cover with 7.
Izell Jenkins has taken over on the left corner for Ben Smith. John Booty is in right now for Wes Hopkins in the secondary. Kosar on 2nd and 10, gets some time and has his man. First down, Browns to the 43-yard line. Langhorn against Izell Jenkins, 16 yards.
Really good work on Kosar's part, but the key starts up front. Number 92, Reggie White, trying to put the heat on, is really kind of double teamed here. Horde bumps him, then he's picked up again by the offensive lineman, Dan Fike. So they double team him here. It's sort of a delayed flash, and the back hits him going out, and then the tackle picked him up. Kept him off the quarterback.
First down, Hopkins back into the secondary of the Eagles. Webster Slaughter in motion. Kosar goes out that side to Slaughter, and he is out of bounds. Well, there does seem to be an effort here to go to that side now with Smith out of there. Latest on Smith, a sprained knee. Nobody hit him. You may recall, if you saw it earlier, he was trying to stay with Slaughter on coverage and twisted the knee himself. And he will have an MRI tomorrow, we're told. Izell Jenkins, number 46, has replaced him. John Booty is in here now in the nickel coverage. That would normally be Jenkins, but Jenkins has had to take over at the left corner. 2nd and 10. Right up the middle, almost picked off by Hopkins, intended for Slaughter.
You might recall, Tim, when the play before this was Slaughter caught a pass inside hook pattern, same thing, and Hopkins went for the ball and missed it. Slaughter caught it. This time Hopkins almost comes up with it. He gambles on his interception. He's in good shape to take it, and just couldn't hold on. Just could not hold on. Again, the start to get your pass off, you have to get it up here up front. And wow, number 33, Leroy Horde, does a number on Reggie White, keeping him in the line of scrimmage. He's going to be double teamed all day. He knows that.
Pretty impressive hit by the 225-pound running back on huge Reggie. That's a strong guy, Leroy Horde. 4 wideouts now on 3rd and 10. Long fade, and it is overthrown for Slaughter. He had Otis Smith on him. And again, with the Ben Smith out of there, they're going on that side when they can.
You can tell right now what Bud Carson's intent is here. He puts a little pressure on with a blitz. Wes Hopkins from his safety position came up from the secondary and put heat on Kosar, forcing him to throw that ball just a little sooner than he wanted to.
Fun to listen to Hopkins talking with us on Saturday about Bud Carson being up for this game. He said, boy, he said, let's say he was a little aggressive in practice this week.
Long meetings, long practice. Yeah.
Well, they did the job. The Carson defense stopping Kosar and company. Hanson's punt taken by Harris. And he dives out with a nice move near the 20-yard line. A 48-yard punt from Hanson. Galbraith made the tackle. And so the Eagles defense, which had had some problems in the first half stopping Kosar, and the Browns offense shuts him down here. And now McMahon will go back to work with Zeke Bratkowski on the left of your screen, who was here last year on the staff of the Browns. Kotite, formerly a Cleveland Browns assistant coach. So along with Bud Carson, everybody would like to beat the Browns in front of Art Modell and the Cleveland fans. First down from the 19. James Joseph and Keith Byers in the backfield together. Joseph out to the 24-yard line. Pickup of 5 on the play. Richard Brown made the tackle with help from David Brandon. Brown, a Plan B free agent from the San Diego Chargers, suddenly became a starter when Mike Johnson went down. Number 52. Says Johnson's been a great help to him. Huh?
Yeah, he has been. They spend a lot of time in the film room together during the week, and you can come here at 8 or 9 o'clock at night sometimes and find those guys studying opposing offenses because they're real students of the game, and he really appreciates all the help that Johnson has given him to help develop that middle linebacker spot.
Second down and 5. McMahon complete to Keith Jackson. Jackson's been getting a lot of work today, and he has a first down for the Eagles to the 32-yard line. Clay Matthews made the tackle. Jackson a little happier with the turn of events in recent games. He likes to catch the football and hadn't been getting much action early in the season, but the last several games he's been a key figure.
I saw him during the field during the pregame warm-up. We were talking to Ozzie Newsome. He said, I can pick up some pointers from this guy.
Great former Brown tight end. Well, there's the gun for the end of the third quarter with the score. The Browns 30, the Eagles 23. Our coverage will continue after this message from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS.
This
Stadium about to begin the fourth quarter. It has been a wild and woolly game. If you joined us along the way, the Browns led this 23-0. Now they lead by only a converted touchdown, and the Eagles have the football. First down at their own 31. Jim McMahon started and went the distance despite coming up with a very sore elbow and having treatment right up to the pregame warm-up. Keith Byers, there's a flag on the play as he was stopped at the line. The ball comes loose but goes out of bounds. Vince Newsome and Anthony Florence combining on the tackle. Byers bounced off Harlan Barnett. And they both got to be feeling that hit.
Defense offsides, number 92, lined up in a neutral zone. 5-yard penalty, repeat first down.
Michael Dean Perry charged with the encroachment. First down and 5. So the Browns had done a good job holding him to virtually no gain. Byers, that is, and Perry cost him 5. 1st and 5, a short drop, and it's complete for the first down. Barnett. Good Barnett, the number 3 pick a year ago. Well, Cleveland Stadium, as the clouds start to come in over the top of the stadium here, but it's been a dry, cold day and a thrilling football game. The Browns jumping into a 23-0 lead, 16-0 at the end of the first quarter, 23-0 early in the second. But now the Eagles have turned things around, and they have the football at their own 43-yard line, first down, trailing by just 7. McMahon and Kosar have both been brilliant today. Tim Ryan and Irv Cross bringing into the action. And deep sideline. Out of bounds. Calvin will make it Barnett out of bounds. Fred Barnett right along the sideline. Another perfect throw from Jim McMahon.
A great throw from Jim McMahon, Tim, but Barnett's lined up a little wide. You see he's working along the sideline here. When the ball comes, he has to drift outside to catch it. 1 foot in, 2nd foot out of bounds. McMahon, of course, on that play, will take a look at it when he delivers the ball. It was knocked down. You very seldom see this. What happens to the quarterback after the delivery? There goes the ball, and there goes Jim.
Good job by Sangapulatelli, who drove the blocker right into McMahon. Just a hair late to stop him from throwing the football. McMahon 21 of 33, 302 yards. Gets good protection and now runs out of it. Dropped for a sack, second of the day by the Browns, Michael Dean Perry. So the Browns get tough defensively on this down.
This is all instinct on McMahon's part. He's such a competitor. Richie Kotite said Jim McMahon is the toughest football player he's ever seen. And this is what he's talking about. Here's a guy who's coming in this game all beat up and battered, bad right arm, bad right knee, and watch this. Takes on Michael Dean Perry to get as much as he can for his ball club.
3rd down and 12, and the Browns badly want to stop him right here. Wide open in the middle. Calvin Williams. First down, Eagles to the 42-yard line. What do you do with this guy? Eric Turner made the stop. 17 yards on the play.
Just wonder what happened to the secondary, because they had the 6 defensive backs in the field. That the middle of the field never seemed to open up like that. Calvin Williams, number 89, coming from the outside of the formation, now comes across. It's a zone defense. Number 53, who should have been deep in that zone at the hook area, stepped up, and that's why it broke free.
Well, again, he's been just passing at will here against this secondary of the Browns, which has a number of key players out of it, certainly starting with Frank Minifield on the left corner. But the brilliance of McMahon finding those holes. James Joseph. All the way down to the 20-yard line, forced out by Newsome. First down, Eagles driving again.
There goes Bo Peep again. We asked him where that name originated. We thought it was some tie to Bo Jackson because he played at Auburn there when Bo Jackson was there. He said, "No, when I was born, my father came to the hospital and he said, 'Where's little Bo Peep?' Well, there he is right there. He's all grown right now, Dad. 6 feet, 222 pounds, with the ability to break a lot of tackles. Number 32. I said 32 has a tremendous history here in Cleveland. Big game Monday night. Another big game today, Tim.
32 here, of course, with Jim Brown. That didn't seem to impress James Joseph. He's too young to remember him.
He didn't know it was, yeah.
First down, Eagles. Keith Jackson dropped the ball. Jackson had the ball in his hand, started to turn upfield, and flat out dropped it.
It's a funny thing to see, but he had his hands turned the wrong direction. He wanted to have his left hand forward, right hand up with his little fingers touching. He had his thumbs up. Now watch, his hands are reversed here. He's not quite in position to make the catch. He'll turn his hands, see, opposite way. That's why they popped out. And Jim McMahon was also knocked down after he delivered that ball. Again, the Browns want to put as much pressure on him as possible. Pio hitting Jim late and
Pio
doing his job.
You're going with the easy way there.
That's right, right. You can say the last name. I know the first name.
Sangapulatelli. Beautiful Samoan name. Second down and 10. McMahon's got a man, but he can't get it to him. Short in third down. And Calvin Williams wants an interference call, but Stephen Braggs is not going to get one. The ball came up short from McMahon.
It seems like every time McMahon throws the ball, somebody knocks him down. Now this time, we'll take a look at what happens when McMahon delivers the ball this time. Number 9 delivers. Here comes 57, Clay Matthews, the linebacker. The ball's away. That's a late hit. That's a late hit. If you're one step away, okay, you can make the hit. But if you're more than one step away, you have to ease off. That was a late hit.
There have been 2 or 3 of those, but you can imagine these guys are tremendously frustrated by what McMahon has been able to do to them today. Here's another big play, both ways, 3rd and 10. And Fred Barnett all tied up, and he'll get that call. Tied up by number 25, Anthony Florence, who was just activated this week. First-year man from Bethune-Cookman off the practice squad, and he'll get the call for interfering with Barnett. Barnett so much appreciated the call by side judge Tom Finken, and he gave a little pat on the
interference. Number 25, spot foul, automatic first down.
No question about this, Tim. Again, he can't bump the receiver 5 yards upfield. Now here's Barnett trying to get there. Here's number 25, Anthony Florence. He really lost track of where the ball was. And that's why the contact took place, and he gets hit with the flag. Big play for the Eagles.
So a first down at the 6-yard line. 1st and goal, Eagles. The young, inexperienced secondary really getting a lesson today from McMahon. Joseph cuts it inside, drives his way to the 2. Richard Brown, the middle linebacker, number 52, made the stop. Second and goal.
This is the part of the field, Tim, where the Eagles like to run over their right side behind Anton Davis, their number 1 pick is the right tackle. A monstrous man at 325 pounds or so. But Joseph, when he runs that off-tackle play, there's Davis right there, 6'4" and 325. He told me in the hotel lobby this morning, he said, I think I'm playing much better, Herb. He said, I've trimmed down a little bit. So you mean trimmed down? How much do you weigh now? I'm about 320. 320.
Burnett, Pleasant, and Figaro into the goal line defense of the Browns. Play action. McMahon for Keith Jackson. Just overthrown. That'll be 3rd down. 3rd down and goal. Rob Selby is in at right guard, number 75, the rookie from Auburn for the Eagles.
They had everything here, Tim. The ball was just a little long. And, McMahon said he was upset with his performance last Monday night against the Giants. He's really going to be upset with that one. Had him open and overthrew it.
Well, if you look back in this game, he's only thrown about 3 bad footballs. A couple he's thrown away deliberately. 3rd and goal. The Browns fans get into it. By Vince Newsom. So the Browns do the job down deep in their own end.
Coverage by Newsom here, but really the field, just an assist on this one. Down that part of the field is a sod where the infield from the baseball diamond has been laid down. Maurice Johnson tripped a little bit as he ran out on that pattern, and Newsom had a chance to cover, and there you go, incomplete pass.
So the Eagles miss an opportunity to tie things up, but Ruza can bring them to within 4. A 19-yard field goal, 4th of the day in that department by Roger Ruzick, 30-26.
McLean Deluxe.
Well, those numbers impressive in favor of the Eagles that we're showing you here, but they still trail on the scoreboard, 30-26. What a day by McMahon, but back in the first half, it was quite a day for Bernie Kosar, and there's still lots of time left. 10-18 in regulation time. Eagles going 78 yards in 13 plays. 5:57 off the clock, but they got only the field goal with a chance to tie from in deep. The Browns defense tightening up on 2 passes into the end zone. Ruzek with 4 field goals today. That's a career high for him in a game. There's Danny Peebles, and he has been returning kickoffs very well here this afternoon.
We have a game here, Tim, with a lot of career highs. Barnett having career highs with his receiving, and he has a cousin to Kansas City as a wide receiver, and they compete against each other quite a bit.
Joe Morris does not bring it out, and so they'll start from their 20. Well, of course, the Eagles lost Ben Smith to self-inflicted injury, and they could use this guy perhaps. Maybe they could bring him back, get him into the game. Watch his technique here.
Oh no, where'd you guys dig that up?
Look at this. What an interception.
I bet he goes all the way.
I know you remember this.
Can you believe that? Sure I do. I can describe every detail of it. It was 3rd and 4 down there.
Yeah, well, what about this detail here? You were gasping going into the end zone.
Where'd you guys get that?
Hey, listen, we got people everywhere.
Oh, gee.
Okay, this is first down from the 20-yard line. Quick cross in uniform out there. Kosar on first down. Webster Slatter. And he picks up another first down to the 33-yard line. Izell Jenkins tripped him up, but Kosar continues to go into Ben Smith's spot. Jenkins playing there now in their base defense. And now Otis Smith in the nickel. Comes out on the left side.
The Browns are now under no huddle offense, so the Eagles will have difficulty getting people in and out of the field as they see fit and making a substitution. So
Kosar may changing this up. He's got 4 wides out, and he is sacked. Jerome Brown and Clyde Simmons. Simmons with that initial contact. And Joyner right behind him, not Brown. 59.
Yeah, number 59, Seth Joyner. What they do is they close everything down inside with that front 4. Number 92, Reggie White, the man putting on pressure right now. But 59, Seth Joyner comes right up the middle from his outside linebacker position for the sack. And again, that's the kind of defense they need to get back into this game.
Indeed, Mike Golick, number 90, is in at left tackle. He rotates with Jerome Brown. 2nd down and 15. Kosar gets it off, incomplete, intended for Brian Brennan, and he takes a little hit from Jenkins as the ball arrives, and the Browns fans want interference there.
I think that ball might have been tapped at the line of scrimmage. It flooded out of there in a funny way. Once Kosar threw it, it looked like one of the defensive linemen might have hit it, and that's why. Watch this now. The ball's out of there. I think 92. No, it doesn't. It didn't touch it. This kind of flooded out of his hand.
The ball had already touched Brennan's hands before Jenkins made the contact, so no call there. 3rd down. Here comes Reggie White. Kosar with a nice move around him, but still in pursuit. White gets him. 3rd Eagles sack. Man, that big guy can move. Kosar made a pretty good move around him, and Reggie ran him down.
It's really funny. He said during the course of a game, he'll oftentimes go over to the tight end Keith Jackson and say, am I physical enough? Am I physical enough? Because he wants to play at the top of his game. He says, I'm playing pretty good football this year, but I know I can raise my game another level. That's awesome when you think of that. This guy is one of the greatest defensive ends of all time, and he thinks he can get better.
8:49 remains to play as Hansen will punt the ball, and the Eagles will have another opportunity here, and this time a chance to take the lead. Harris back. Good field position. That ball hangs up a little bit. Fair catch signal. And it takes an Eagle bounce. It just dies right there. So Philadelphia will start from their own 48-yard line when we return. Tim Ryan with Irv Cross, and there's just the way it is out there. Pio Sangapo, I had it going there. Sangapulatelli showing the scrapes of battle. Little flea flicker. McMahon doesn't have a man open. Now he unloads it in the direction of Williams, but he may get called for intentional grounding. And he does. McMahon will say there was a receiver there, but he definitely unloaded there because he was being pursued by Perry and was trying to avoid the sack. That's the way the officials see it. Richie Kotite says, hey, Calvin Williams had a chance to be the receiver. So there's a huddle. The part of Howard Rowe and his staff.
Intentional grounding. Quarterback, 10-yard penalty. Lost a down. He was throwing the football to keep from losing yardage. Second down.
Take a look here. We've got a receiver down here and a receiver to the tight end who releases and comes forward. McMahon, when he gets caught in the scramble, watch the see now the ball is tossed off back to him. Now only there are two receivers, but the guy he's trying to hit is coming across field here. That's where the ball is being thrown. Now the ball was certainly 4 yards away from the receiver, but there was a receiver there, and McMahon thought he had a bad call. And I think he got a bad call too.
Well, of course, it says if they judge that you're throwing it away to avoid being sacked, you get penalized. And he certainly had Michael Dean Perry chasing him as he unloaded that pass. Slow developing because of the handout. And then the pitch back to McMahon made the routes slow developing.
They're trying to determine where to spot the ball here.
The original line of scrimmage was at the 48-yard line, and that's a 10-yard penalty, so it goes back to the 38-yard line. Second and 20.
Everybody down. It's sort of like a secondary flow here. Now he's free, and here he comes right up the pike with a sack. Barnett's a pretty good sized fella, 270-pounder. That's his second. He has 2.5 sacks now in the season for the Browns, and what a time to get it. This is what McMahon has been facing all day.
Short of the first down. Of course, the Eagles weren't really going for it there. Just wanted to get something back, punt the ball, try and stop Kozar. Jeff Fiegels has punted only twice in this game. Has the wind with him. Sometimes.
That's right. It swirls in the stadium, so you never know which direction is going to be going when you kick.
Yeah, he had it for sure. Look at that. From the goal line, Slaughter, they drive him into the end zone, and loose ball, still loose, covered by the Eagles. First down, Philadelphia. A flag down, but after the play was dead. Rick Hager, the man to come up with a loose ball. A 62-yard punt by Fiegels. Now, ostensibly, the worst thing that can happen to Philadelphia here is an infraction after they get the ball.
Bad judgment on Slaughter's part, Tim. You stand on the 10-yard line as a punt returner. If you have to take one step back, let the ball go in the end zone. Now, the Browns have a little problem this weekend with punt returns because Eric Metcalf would normally be back there to return kicks for him. He's out injured, so now Slaughter is back there, who seldom returns kicks, is doing that job today, but he exercised poor judgment back there, and the Browns now are really in a hole. Webster Slaughter trying to come up with a big play to make something happen, just use bad judgment. The rule of thumb is you line up on the 10-yard line. If you have to take one step back, let the ball go, because chances are it'll go in the end zone for the touchback. Slaughter gets caught in there, coughs it up. It looks like the Eagles are going to have it inside the 5.
Well, the flag that came after the Eagles had recovered the ball. Brett Hager, reserve linebacker. So we'll see what happens here. They may not have it in as deep as they're going to have it, but it should be Eagles ball based on the sequence of events.
Now the Eagles will have the football. They're trying to determine just if there was a foul, what the foul was, and where the ball should be spotted.
Yeah, I wonder whether this ball would have gone into the end zone. It was a tremendous punt.
No, it would have gone into the end zone.
Certainly
See, he
would have.
caught it over his head. Now
he's on the goal line.
He's in the end zone now. So the ball would have easily gone into the end zone for a touchback. So he would have had the ball on the 20-yard line. But you just didn't know where he was. And again, the rule of thumb is you stand on the 10-yard line. If you have to take one step back, let it go. It's going to go in the end zone for the touchback. And Slaughter just exercised very poor judgment.
Well, now
we had an illegal block on the return, number 42. Penalty is declined because we got a fumble and recovered by Philadelphia. First down.
Well, so the penalty was going to be against Cleveland. Lattenberry for an illegal block on the return of the punt. We thought the penalty might be against the Eagles. So it turns out very well for Philadelphia. First and goal at the 2-yard line of the Browns. 6:54 still to play, fourth quarter. A 4-point deficit, and the Eagles knocking on the door. Good defensive job by the Browns, stuffing the run. Richard Brown straightening up James Joseph.
Pretty impressive play. The Browns in their goal line defense, Tim, will have their 4 men down on the line of scrimmage. They'll pinch inside, and the middle linebacker, Richard Brown, is responsible for taking those off-tackle plays. And that time, he did a whale of a job.
Second and goal. Sherman, and again. Michael Dean Perry and Cedric Figueroa, reserve linebacker from Notre Dame, picked up on waivers from Indianapolis, and they use them in this goal line defense.
You want to tell if a team is winning or losing at the goal line situation. When backs get hit and go backwards, the defense wins. Now, 2 successive plays, the Browns have driven the Eagles backwards.
And the Eagles otherwise have played very well up front offensively today. Alexander, Solt, Davis, McKnight, Heller, Selby, and Hudson. And right now, the Browns fired up. Touchdown! Kelvin Williams, and the Eagles lead for the first time in the game. Jim McMahon delivers again.
That was a tremendous throw, Tim. He threw that ball before Calvin Williams cleared behind the linebacker. 1, 2, 3. Just let it go and let Williams run to it. Again, great anticipation, great ability to read defensive coverages. McMahon knew right away on his second step where he wanted to go with the ball and hit a strike.
Ruzek for the point after. It's blocked. Fight in both these teams today. There are no routine plays. 5:19 remains. The Eagles on top by 3.
Here's what happened on the touchdown. The Eagles are in a 2 tight end offense, forcing your defensive backs to go all one-on-one. Now, when the ball is thrown, Eric Turner, number 29, right there, has to go to the corner. But he turns his back. McMahon sees it and hits him. Hits the receiver coming back inside for the touchdown.
So the rookie Turner victimized by Calvin Williams. And the Eagles take the lead for the first time in the game. But the point after was blocked. So they have a 2-point margin, not 3. And this is going to be a thriller to the wire. Ruzek's kickoff. Peebles drops it in the end zone. He will not bring it out. And the Browns will start from their 20. Now the key play for the Browns, the block of the point after try, and keep an eye on defensive end number 90, Rob Burnett, who will come up the middle, the big guy.
Right over the center, number 90. He breaks through and then leaps and blocks that ball, and big play.
So Kozar now 14 of 29 on the day. After a torrid beginning, the Eagles have made life a little more difficult for him in the second half, and plus the Eagles have had the football most of the second half. Kevin Mack gets about 3 on first down. Ozart's blocked at the line. It looked like Reggie White got a hand on it. Number 92.
Reggie White, in addition to being an outstanding defensive player, is also an author, Tim. He's written a book called The Reggie White Touch Football Playbook. And the proceeds from the sale of that book that he has out goes towards a home he has down in Maryville, Tennessee, that he and his wife opened up for unwed mothers. I know about it because I happen to write some things about this book, and I can read what I wrote about it, but I won't tell you, except that I know that he has this touch football book out. He's pretty excited about the home he has now down in Tennessee.
That's terrific. He's a terrific guy in every way. Third down. Sar, and it is incomplete. Intended for Brian Brennan. A little high. Tampa Bay got its second victory of the season, 30-21 over Detroit. Lions, of course, without Rodney Peete, but with Eric Kramer as their starter. There's a Kevin Mack limping off. Fourth down, so the Eagles stop the Browns' offensive sortie here with 4:36 remaining. Rod Harris doing the counting back there, awaiting the punt from Hansen. Hansen had a pretty good rush on it. Fair catch signal at the 31-yard line.
Harris takes the fair catch just for fun.
Another good punt from Hansen, 46 yards into the wind. So now it's up to the Browns defense. Get that ball back as they trail. Washington beating up on Atlanta. New Orleans and San Francisco 10-3 with backup quarterbacks in action there today. Look at this.
Houston came back.
Wow.
Houston came back.
2 minutes left in that one. And there's a Danny. Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. The Bengals obviously coming back a little bit with a good win over Cleveland a week ago, feeling better about themselves. Buffalo now, after trailing Green Bay early, has gone ahead. And the Colts win a game, beating the Jets.
Without Dickerson.
First down. Eagles from their own 31. Throwing on first down at Johnson, the tight end. Maurice Johnson, and he fights his way for an extra yard. Pickup of about 6. Newsom.
Really a great story of this guy, Tim. Maurice Johnson had been cut twice by the Eagles in 2 successive training camps. And last year, after they let him go, he was running around town trying to find a job with the Postal Service. His mother had something lined up for him just at the time he was called to come back to the Eagles, because Mickey Schuler, who was a tight end there as a backup tight end behind Keith Jackson, went down with an injury. They called Johnson back, and here he is now in this Eagle lineup, and he's even started for him somewhat in a few games.
He's out of Temple, which makes Bill Cosby happy. And
yeah,
Stan Hochman did a funny column on Cosby recently as we watch Braggs being helped off the field. Yet another secondary man goes down. Bill Cosby was empathizing with Jim McMahon taking all those hits out there in front of a young offensive line. He said he'd volunteer to come in and quarterback the Eagles with all the problems they're having with injuries. He said, I've got the body of Sonny Jurgensen, the arm of Terry Bradshaw, and the brain of Warren Moon. But meanwhile, they haven't signed him. I think McMahon's doing all right. Byers battles for about 3. I believe 2nd and 4. Brown's secondary continues to get to be battered. Anthony Florence has come in for Stephen Braggs on the right corner. Braggs is in there for Hilliard. Hilliard has played a little bit today, but he's got a groin pull. Claiborne and Harper, 2 more corners, are on injured reserve. Minifield out the left corner with an injury. Third down, 3. Wide open is Roy Green for a first down, Eagles. Now, Green hasn't been out there too often, but if you're looking for a guy to get you a third down, he's not a bad choice.
There he is on third down, 3 receptions for 3 first downs. Every time a third down comes up, this was last week against the New York Giants, the Eagles needed it, he came up with it. Richie Kotite told us last night that, Roy Green's getting up in age a little bit now. We found the perfect way to use him as a spot player. He doesn't have to be in there every play and get run down. He's a 13-year veteran, and on third down plays, he is terrific.
3:02 on the clock and a timeout on the field. The Eagles with a first down and a lead. And coming up after our NFL Today post-game show, CBS Sports will bring you the final round coverage of players over 40 competing in the Amoco Centel Championship from Hilton Head National Golf Club in Hilton Head, South Carolina. Jim Nance, Ben Wright, Curtis Strange, Bobby Clampett, and others will be there to bring you that action today in a special golf tournament, 4:30 Eastern. And, of course, we'll have an NFL Today post-game show at the conclusion of our telecast of this exciting game from Cleveland Stadium. Now the Browns, having surrendered a 23-0 lead, trailing by 2, have simply got to stop the Eagles here for any chance to win. 3:02 on the clock. Nowhere. Good defensive action. Anticipating Michael Dean Perry, Richard Brown. Loss on the play of about a yard. Then another timeout taken by the Browns. 2:56. This defense has been out here a long time today, Irv. It's certainly been a factor as the game has gone on. Well, next week we're going to have doubleheader action for you here on CBS Sports. Joe Gibbs and the Washington Redskins, looks like they'll be 10-0, and they are playing beautiful football with great pass receiving from Gary Clark and his teammates, making Rippon and company the talk of the NFC. And that's next week, our first game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. You'll see the Redskins. Doubleheader day, and it all begins with the NFL Today at 12:30 Eastern, the last word before kickoff. 2nd and 11. And sideliner complete, and a good defensive play again by the Browns. He's down.
The pass complete to
Calvin Williams made the catch, but Randy Hilliard out there on the left side didn't let him get loose. So a gain of maybe 5 on the play. It'll leave 3rd and 7.
The Eagles have to be thinking here now, if we can get a first down, we can run the clock out and win this football game. The Bears and the Browns on the other hand have to be thinking, let's take the ball away. We have to set up good field position for our offense, or if possible have the defense take the ball away and score ourselves.
Browns take another timeout, and that is their last. This game presented by authority of the National Football League. The CBS telecast intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use without the express written consent of CBS, the Cleveland Browns, and the National Football League is prohibited. 3rd down at midfield. And the Browns simply have to make the play. 3rd and 7. Incomplete. Intended for Jackson. A flag flies. Harlan Barnett had the coverage, number 37, the second-year man from Michigan State. And it looks like he's going to be whistled. He is for interference.
That's the ball game. If he's caught for a foul here, the Eagles wind up with an automatic first down.
Defensive pass interference, number 37, spot foul, automatic first down.
We'll take a look at it on the replay to find out just what happened. Number 37, you can't see him in the frame here yet, but 88 in the top right. Here he is working against Keith Jackson. Really, again, he can't, once the receiver comes 5 yards upfield, you really can't contact him. And Harlan Barnett stayed with him. Yeah, I do. He was a little deeper than 5 yards, and I agree with that call. It was a tough call for him, but he gets the flag.
At the spot of the foul, first down. Joseph running it now, wrapping it up with 2 hands, and Brown's all over him. He got just to the line of scrimmage. Eric Turner, the UCLA rookie. Tony Blaylock putting the stop on the Auburn rookie.
Tim, talking to Rich Kotite last night, I asked him if he had any particular memories about Cleveland, because he was an assistant coach here a few years ago, and he said, you know, one of the things I remember most about Cleveland is I had my brain surgery here. You know, he had a problem with his brain, and there he is. He said, I have a lot of friends here. The brain aneurysm he had, and he had an operation here, and a lot of the people from the hospital come over even now to visit with him, and a lot of them are here at the game today as a special guest. He said, I'll never forget Cleveland.
We've reached the 2-minute warning. 32-30, Eagles on top. Have used their final timeout. So the Eagles, with a 2nd and 10 at the 42-yard line of Cleveland, are in command here. And Roger Ruzek, with 4 field goals today, had his last point after blocked, and his team clinging to a 2-point lead. But he has been a key player here today and has had himself a career afternoon with 4 in 1 day.
Second and 10 at 42.
Joseph, it's about 3 or 4 yards. Third and 7 from the 39-yard line. Jim McMahon, 26 of 43, 341 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception.
Tim, but the most important stat for Jim McMahon is he played the game from beginning to end. Came in here with a bad arm, and we know last night when we saw him, he couldn't even raise his right arm. And he's out here now playing a football game.
We're down 7. And they'll keep it on the ground to Joseph again, and the Browns rise up to meet him right at the line of scrimmage. They might give him about a half a yard on forward progress. And we're under a minute. 4th down. Running unit comes on the field for the Philadelphia Eagles. .32 seconds and counting down. That's the play clock you're seeing there. It's down to 9 seconds, and Fiegels may just let it go all the way to 0 here. Take a penalty and back it up a little bit. That's what he's going to do. So 19 seconds of playing time left. For the Philadelphia Eagles, they'll get to 500 at 5-5 and remain with a shot at a wild card. For the Cleveland Browns, their hopes are dim. They fall to 4-6, and they're behind a number of teams in the AFC in the wild card department.
Go, man.
Well, the Browns have had difficulty with NFC East teams. They haven't beaten one yet. They played the Giants, lost to them, and of course lost to Washington, and now here's a loss to the Philadelphia Eagles. Of course, we have a few seconds left on the clock here yet, but looks like it may end up that way. And next week, Philadelphia has Cincinnati at home.
Well, nonetheless, you can see the direction they're headed in under young Bill Belichick, their first-year head coach. Eagles gets it away as the Browns went for the rush, of course, and he gets it into the end zone with 11 seconds left. They stop it with 10, so it'll be Hail Mary time for Kozar from the 20-yard line. But this team playing with a lot more spirit and spunk, and I think the feeling is in Cleveland that Well, they may not make the playoffs. They are headed in the right direction.
If you're in the Eagles secondary right now, Tim, you want to give number 1, Michael Jackson, an awful lot of room. He's the man who can really go the distance for the Cleveland Browns, and it's kind of funny how they picked him up when he went down to southern Mississippi to scout him. They had gotten his name mixed up with someone else's, and they thought he was 5'10" or something like that, 180 pounds. It turns out he's 6'4", 195, and runs about a 9.700. And here he goes.
Kozar throws it out in the flat for Langhorne, hoping to perhaps cross up the Eagles with a shorter pattern and turn Langhorne loose. They stop the clock out of bounds with 5 seconds left.
You watch this play, the Eagles linebackers look like they're lined up about 20 yards from the line of scrimmage. The deep backs are even further back than that. They have a 3-man rush, and the first wall of defenders that Kozar will see are the linebackers, who are literally at 15 yards off the ball, and the deep backs are about 25 yards deep.
Kozar airs this one out. Jackson is the deepest man, and it's out of bounds. And that'll do it. So the Philadelphia Eagles, trailing 23-0 in this game, come back with the brilliant leadership and play of Jim McMahon to defeat the Cleveland Browns 32-30, and they get to 5-5 on the season, coming off their Monday night victory over the Giants. This guy puts on a bionic man performance at quarterback, gets an excellent day again from the offensive unit along the front for the Philadelphia Eagles, and the Eagles come up with a great comeback performance here against this feisty Browns team that jumped into the early 23-0 lead. Bill Belichick has to be disappointed. His team started so well today. And we'll be back with our NFL Today post-game.